GOP presidential debate coming next October, hosted by the University of Utah. Salt Lake Chamber spokesman Derek Miller says all directions point to Salt Lake City.
When people think about what's happening in the country, so much of it is happening right here in Salt Lake City.
Observers say the city and state have done a good job improving infrastructure and facilities, and more people are moving downtown, making the city an attractive place to host major events. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A new report finds some Americans are dealing with financial struggles heading into the holiday season. Details from ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
The U.S. economy is defying expectations, but many households are still gloomy about their personal finances. A new survey from Lending Club finds that 60% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck. Many are blaming the stubbornly high prices when you go to the grocery store or for housing and for rent.
As you just heard, 60% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down about 65 points. That's closing in on 2/10. The S&P down percentage-wise a little bit more. It's off 14, and the NASDAQ is off almost, a little bit more than 0.75%. It's down 112 this hour. Coming up, we're going to get some sunshine today, in case you couldn't tell by looking out the window or driving through these roads of the Wasatch Front this hour. We'll check your full forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Shop Black Friday every day and get the best new deals all month long only at Lowe's. Right now, buy one DeWalt 20-volt max 4-tool combo kit. Get 2 select tools free. That's up to a $438 value. Plus, get up to 50% off select vanities, faucets, and shower heads. Shop in-store and online today because Lowe's knows deals. Valid through 11/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and all you have to do is look up to the mountaintops and realize the time of year winter is around the corner. This is the time to start thinking about those holiday gatherings, maybe that reward for your employees, gifts for friends and neighbors, and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. A gift card at Ruth's Chris really does the trick. Trust me, I have been a recipient. Plus, having that holiday gathering at Ruth's Chris. 2 locations, of course, Hotel Park City. Maybe you'll want to do that after a great day of skiing, or downtown Salt Lake City, maybe after the game or the concert. What a great experience during the holiday season, which now is just around the corner. It awaits you at Ruth's Chris, and you're going to find the best food ever. The steaks are cooked perfectly. The side dishes are beyond compare. And the desserts, oh my goodness. And of course, they have all the other entrees too. It's waiting for you now at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Right now might just be the perfect time to upgrade your living space to one that has, a little more space. You've earned the equity in your home. It's now time to put it to good use. Whether it's opening up a cramped or dated floor plan, adding a little more luxury to your bath, or finally building the kitchen of your dreams, Golden West Credit Union has a home equity line of credit for a low introductory rate of 5.49% APR fixed for 6 months. With a Golden West home equity credit line, you'll save money with no fees or closing costs. And Golden West makes accessing the equity in your home easy with a Visa Platinum Card. Start making the most of your equity today and make your plans a reality. Apply at any branch, online at gwcu.org, or on our mobile app. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 440574.
We'll take care of you.
This is the holiday to spoil the people you love. Do it with J. Brooks Jewelers. Online at jbrooksjewelers.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Back to Andy Farnsworth.
Tim, I-80 still the biggest slow stretch of freeway from 700 east out to about 2300 east. If you're in a hurry, that's not going to be a quick way, but the alternates maybe a little faster. 21st south, waiting through a lot of traffic lights. It still looks like traffic's moving better than on I-80 without them. Northbound 15, we've got some slowdowns remaining in the Sandy stretch between 123rd and 106th, and then you'll hit the brakes if you're traveling through Murray right now, just before you cross 215. The huge Black Friday sale is happening now at Two Brothers Mattress. Save big on all Serta mattresses at all 5 of the Two Brothers Mattress locations and online at twobrothersmattress.com. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny today and tomorrow. Highs are going to be in the upper 40s, but a storm moves into Utah Thursday afternoon. So depending on what time you eat your Thanksgiving dinner, it'll either be just before or just after. Friday could see snow all the way down to the valley floors. Saturday and Sunday dry, but cold with highs only in the 30s. It's beautiful out there right now. Blue sky, sunshine, and 34 degrees. At KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We have such a huge show lined up for today. First of all, it is Election Day. If you're driving on the freeways, you'll see that the Utah Department of Transportation has put up those billboards reminding you, as you're driving safely to the ballot box, you have to drive to a ballot box today. You cannot put your ballot in the mail. I guess you could, but it had to have been postmarked by yesterday. So we're going to have Lieutenant Governor on the show. Also, huge story breaking yesterday of the University of Utah hosting a 2024 presidential debate, the last debate of the campaign season in 2024. The governor joining us on that. And, of course, big news locally, school closures.
Yeah, it's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
All right, Governor lined up in the 11 o'clock hour today to talk about the huge national political story that Utah just got. I mean, we're a part of it. I'm so excited about the University of Utah hosting the final of 3 presidential debates. Remember when they hosted the vice presidential debate? And you and I
we
got to go up there, well, earlier in the day.
We weren't invited to the debate, but we at least broadcasted from the vicinity.
Like the rest of y'all. But I think this is really exciting. I mean, first it was the 2002 Olympic Games. Now this?
This is a huge deal and a huge honor to our state, to our capital city.
You've heard me say this before, but Utah punches above its weight. We should not be hosting a presidential debate. We're Utah. We are 6 electoral votes. That's it. We're not that exciting, but for some reason, they're so obsessed with us.
Countdown. 2.
In 10 minutes, we're starting our full coverage of the 4 Salt Lake City elementary schools that made the list of schools facing an uncertain future. We, along with parents, have been waiting for months to hear which schools the district would zero in on for potential shutdown. Some feel the decision-making process was just too secretive along the way until last night when the meeting was called and the big reveal happened. That's when families learned it's Hawthorne, it's Riley, it's Benyon, it's Jackson.
I am devastated. These friends and these bonds that they've started to form are foundational and really provide them confidence and security.
It had a little bit of the Hunger Games vibe. Like everybody's sitting, waiting to hear the name. Is it going to be Riley? Is it going to be Benyon? I hope it's not Jackson. But that's exactly what happened. The school got picked, and parents, they took it hard.
Launch countdown. 1.
Today is the last day to unfreeze your turkey in the fridge. I literally cannot believe you just gave this to me to read, Dave.
It's important. Debbie, have you ever... What if you're in charge of the turkey and it's still frozen in your freezer?
You've made a point. I feel it's more important to mention it's also Election Day. You've got until this evening to drop off your ballot in a ballot box. Don't drive it to the post office today. and take it to the desk and ask them to put the... Don't do that. You got to take it to a ballot box. Those are the rules. At this point, you cannot put it in the mail.
And don't be fooled. Even though these aren't the flashiest races going on right now,
come on,
they are much more important to your day-to-day life than what's going on in Washington.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Your voice, your vote 2023. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
You don't think the sewer district race in your neighborhood is flashy?
The most important race in America.
It's literally on Dave's ballot. If you're a little surprised that today is election day, don't be embarrassed. This is not normal. We're running a couple weeks later than normal. We're running awfully close to Thanksgiving. Lots of people leaving town. But Representative Chris Stewart suddenly resigned from Congress, and to fit in the Republican primary, the state had to push back the deadline a couple of weeks. So here we are.
Yeah, which means it's happening today instead of the first Tuesday in November. That's when it is typically. So now we're, like you said, pushed up against Thanksgiving week. But don't worry for the poll workers. They're not going to have to keep, counting ballots on Turkey Day. They get that day off, and then it's back to counting ballots.
If you're not one to shoot for the stars when it comes to turnout, then you'd be impressed with where things are going so far. So, Lieutenant Governor, thankfully, Deidre Henderson, taking time out of her day at 10:05, joining us later in the show with the latest voter turnout and any of the last-minute details we got to know about this election day.
I was cracking up
really?
when I read her tweet last night.
Oh, tell me.
Late night tweeting is the best tweeting. She said, I think I can speak for everyone in charge of elections. Please, please let the margins be big. Thoughts and prayers are appreciated.
Well, she was apparently up late, up early this morning, 7:30 a.m. Here's the latest information. This was from her Twitter feed as well. Davis turnout. Dave, this is your neighborhood. Almost 30%. Salt Lake, a little bit behind Davis County. We're sitting right here at about 28%. Washington County, this is where Celeste Malloy running against Kathleen Reeby and others in the 2nd Congressional District, but she really pulled the numbers in Washington County during the primary. They're at almost 32%.
Yeah, this was something specifically in the Republican primary that Celeste Malloy, Bruce Huff, they both focus very, very much in southern Utah. So Washington County, which is St. George, the largest county there, a very nice turnout, more than Davis or Salt Lake. But listen to some of these numbers in more rural parts. Paiute County, nearly 50%. Garfield County, 38%. Beaver, 35%. Wayne County, 41%.
What's going on with Juab, though? I mean,
20%.
You can probably hear us in Juab. Yeah, you're not that far. Was that like Nephi? At the truck stop in Nephi. Get out the vote. Man, you're 20%. What is going on there? Maybe they're just slow in counting.
Well, Tooele is 23%. Yeah, it might be a counting thing.
Maybe, Tooele, is that in CD2? Am I wrong? No,
yeah,
we're looking. Oh God, we got to look at the map.
Question.
We got to look at the map.
I don't think so.
I raised a question I don't know the answer to. Dave is quickly typing, looking for the map on Google Earth of CD2. Maybe they're not in that area. Salt Lake City School District is up next because we got to talk to them about how they arrived.
It is.
Get out the vote. What are you doing? That's a huge election. All the elections are important, even if you're Dave Noriegan. You got to vote on the sewer district race, and that's all you got on your ballot.
I've got the most boring ballot I've ever seen.
You got to vote. In fact, Dave's whole neighborhood is in texting him about who's the best candidate in the in the sewer district. He's like, I don't know. Salt Lake City School District joining us next. A big story breaking overnight. The school district, big reveal last night, arriving at these 4 elementary schools for possible closure.
The 4 elementary schools that we are recommending for closure are Hawthorne Elementary, Emlyn Benyon Elementary, Mary W. Jackson Elementary, and Riley Elementary.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Finally, Friday. Now you can hear Dave and Dujanovic 5 days a week.
Starting in January, Dave and Debbie will be on Fridays at 9.
Then the movie show from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio.
This week.
I'm a conservative.
I like the independence.
The person that we like is on the ballot.
Your voice, your vote, 2023.
We voted. I wasn't going to miss it.
It takes almost no time at all.
Get coverage all day today and all the results and reactions tomorrow. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Listen up, Black Friday shoppers. If you're anything like me, you appreciate a little extra jingle in your wallet during the holidays. Maybe buy a last-minute gift for someone you left off your shopping list, or even to buy yourself something you wanted but didn't get. That's why you should check out the Xfinity Mobile Black Friday sale now through December 5th. New customers can get a free line of unlimited intro mobile for 2 years with Xfinity Fast Internet. That's over $1,000 in savings. Plus, see how you can save even more with up to $800 off an eligible 5G phone. Now's your chance to get connected to the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. Join the millions who've switched to one of the fastest growing mobile services. This offer won't last. Go to Xfinity.com/Black Friday sale. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change after promo. Regular rates apply to service. Actual internet speeds vary. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet reduced mobile speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage. Data thresholds may vary.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Hi, this is Congressman John Curtis. I know it can be stressful waiting for an answer from a government agency. If you live in Utah's 3rd Congressional District and you need help with a passport, the VA, IRS, Social Security, or any other federal agency, come to my outreach open house. Join us at Holiday City Hall on Tuesday, November 21st, anytime from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. I'll kick the event off at 4:30 with a brief update on Congress, and then my team will be available to meet with you. Come meet my amazing caseworkers and staff. Get help with the government agency. Sign up for a one-on-one with me. Learn about internship opportunities, grant applications, congressional accommodations, and so much more. Come see why my team was recently ranked #1 in Congress. Oh yes, and refreshments will be served. Hope to see you there.
Paid for by the MRA of Congressman John Curtis.
Get ready, Utah! It's Medicare annual enrollment period, so why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for Utah, trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, today is Election Day, so make sure to get your vote in by 8 p.m. Second, the Salt Lake City School District is recommending 4 elementary schools close. And third, the Salt Lake City Council is allowing one of its last agricultural areas to go somewhat industrial. We're going to look for a high today of 46 degrees, and with that sunshine, still cold out there, 34. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
I think I'm confident in saying that more than 1,000 families in Salt Lake City are waking up this morning to what they probably consider some disappointing news. Their child's school is on the verge of being shut down in the Salt Lake City School District.
The 4 elementary schools that we are recommending for closure are Hawthorne Elementary, Emlyn Benyon Elementary, Mary W. Jackson Elementary, and Riley Elementary.
I'm trying to put myself in the parents' shoes last night at the board meeting, waiting to hear if your kid's school is going to get shut down. And I'm having a hard time being empathetic or maybe wringing my hands over this.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think it's the process was so long that by the time you get to this point, you finally get the big reveal? You're like, fine, at least we know. Do you think maybe that's part of it?
Well, some of it is I just don't really care where my kids go to school. I have a lot of trust in the schools in my community. I don't think my school is way better than all the other schools around. So if they don't have enough kids to fill up the school, I trust in the Davis School District that they're going to send my kids to a good place.
Hugo Ricard Bell, of course, from our team here at KSL News Radio, did actually speak to two moms at last night's board meeting and the decision. At least now have a better idea of where the district has zeroed in on these 4 schools that they're going to be focused on over the next couple of weeks to determine if they'll actually close them. But they were sitting there waiting for the shoe to drop or not drop. It's Chelsea and Emily, both moms. They had different experiences after the announcement was made. One mom found out her child's school is on the closure list, and the other found out her child's school is not.
My name is Chelsea Wilbur, and I am devastated.
Chelsea's daughter is at Hawthorne Elementary.
These friends and these bonds that they've started to form are foundational and really provide them confidence and security, and they have such great teachers and such a wonderful environment, and it's all getting broken up.
The school district explained to a crowded auditorium that enrolment at elementary schools in the Salt Lake City School District are on a steep decline.
A Gardner Institute report noted that we will lose 40,000 public school students over the next 10 years in the state.
Despite their detailed reasons behind the recommendations, Chelsea isn't satisfied with the school district's decision-making process.
I just don't think that there's any transparency in how they came to this decision.
This is a feeling that Emily shares.
I wish they had given us more of this information sooner, because it seems like they have thought through some of the things we were really questioning, but they haven't been showing us that all along.
On December 5th, there will be a public hearing held at West High School. This will be the last time parents can have their say.
Yandri Chatwin joins us right now from the Salt Lake School District. What formula did the district use to decide which of these 4 or these 7 schools would close? How did you land on those 4 specifically?
Yeah, so that's so complex, and for those who really love analyzing data, we've got a lot of that info on our website. But what it came down to is looking at the factors that we were required to check in policy and taking into account community input. As we looked at the data, folks who hop on our website and see that data table, there are like 40-something columns on there. There were a lot of factors. So what we honed in on were the outliers, the factors that could be used to differentiate between schools. And then as we compared those data points and took community input into account, these were the 4 schools that rose to the top.
Yandri, I'm looking at the enrollment data. Hawthorne, I just visited Hawthorne probably 10 days ago to talk to kids about careers and media in specific. Just a great school there on 17 South and 7th East. It looks like it has about 320 students. We've got Benyon, 150 or so students. Jackson, I'm looking at about 340 students. And Riley Elementary at 193 students. And I know when you look at the list where you've zeroed in those 4 schools for potential closure, 2 of them are on the east side, 2 of them are on the west side, if my Google mapping was correct this morning. But, I mean, you're looking at some schools that are much more robust in student population, and they're paying the price for schools that aren't. And so I think that gets confusing to me.
Yeah, something that we really looked at was the neighborhood population. 2 of the schools that you mentioned, Mary W. Jackson and Hawthorne, they have special district programs there. Mary W. Jackson has a dual language Spanish immersion program, and Hawthorne has a magnet gifted talented program. So those, because they're district programs, if the school closes, those will be relocated elsewhere, which means that what we were looking at is the neighborhood enrollment and making sure that a school can support both that special program and the neighborhood enrollment. When you look at Mary W. Jackson, there are 337 students, but a huge majority of them were part of that Spanish dual language program. That meant that they were left with one class per grade level in the neighborhood program. So kids who were not part of that special program didn't really have options at that school. And that's not the ideal setting. So we focused on placing schools, keeping schools open where students were. And at Mary W. Jackson, the situation just happened to be that the numbers didn't align with the neighborhood enrollment.
You mentioned a couple of times that you took community input into account. What do you mean by that? Did Hawthorne and Benyon parents just not fight hard enough, or did they say, no, go ahead, take it away?
No, that's not it at all. It wasn't about how loud the commenters were, but rather about what they were saying. So something that really came through, regardless of which school community the comments were from, is that families wanted walkable neighborhood schools. So we took a look, for example, in that Newman-Mary W. Jackson pair. Mary W. Jackson had 5 other elementary schools that were within walking distance for most of the residential students for Mary W. Jackson. Newman only had 2 schools that we could redistribute students to if that school closed. So that's something we took into account. If families are saying we want to be able to still walk to school, well, in closing Mary W. Jackson, we can still provide most of those kids with walkable options. We bus students now, and we will still need to bus some students if the board were to accept the recommendations from the district. But that's just a way that we took things into account. Some of it also deals with special programs. In some of our schools, our families rely on the school food pantry or some other resources like that we provide for our families. So a lot of the comments were things like, if you close my school, how are you going to make sure I still have access to those resources that my family relies on? That's the sort of thing we're taking into account in the transition planning once we know if the board is going to approve school closures.
So Yandri, would you put a food pantry at another school then if it doesn't have it? Is that how you deal with that?
That's an option for sure. We're still in the process of that. So it could be that we continue to run, like the food bank does, mobile food pantries at some of our school sites because we will still own that property. Maybe we do still do a monthly mobile pantry there because it's our property and that's closer to some families. So we continue to do that. So like I said, we're finalizing those details in the transition, but the community input piece was important and it still is important because what was shared yesterday were just initial recommendations. In that Hawthorne-Emerson pair, one thing that community members really asked for was for us to take the needs of special education students into account. And Emerson Elementary has a very robust program, a collaborative classroom program for some of our students with academic support and behavior supported students. And that was a big factor in that pair. Looking at both of those schools, they both had factors that if they had not been located right next to each other, maybe both would have been recommended for closure. But the fact that our community members asked us to prioritize the needs of some of our most vulnerable students really made a difference in that particular pairing. And I guess I should have set this background earlier, but as we looked at the data, it became clear that we could not close all 7 schools. We would have been creating educational deserts. We also determined that we couldn't close 2 schools that were in close proximity. So we studied a few of these in pairs. Emerson and Hawthorne were a pair. Benyon and Wasatch were a pair because they're located next to each other. And then Newman and Mary W. Jackson were the other pair in close proximity. And we made... Go ahead.
Yanni, I got to get this question in, and we're just running up against the clock here. Hawthorne, Benyon, Jackson, and Riley are the elementary schools that are on the line for potential closure. But this transparency piece that parents all gather in this area last night for the big reveal of which schools, I've got to ask you in like 30 seconds or a minute, what in the world? Why do it that way? It just seemed so awkward and odd that it was done this way to me as a parent and as a journalist.
Tell me more about what you mean.
Well,
this
I just
way.
felt like it felt like they had to all gather in a space and have this big reveal and wonder if their child's school was going to stay closed or stay open. Could the school district have done more to be more transparent along the way as you guys were determining all of these things that you're just talking about?
We have heard the community asking for that transparency, and that's why we do have so much information on the website. The rationale document is over 50 pages, and some people might think that's a little too long, but because the public wanted to know exactly how we were coming to these recommendations, we're providing that information. We're providing the data, the exact data, same data we were looking at, same maps we were using in our further study period, and we're hopeful that will help community members understand, even if they don't agree with the recommendation at the end, that they'll at least understand that this was a data-driven process with community input being part of that data, of course. And we'll see that these recommendations are logical and make sense.
Yandri Chatwin, thank you for joining us from the Salt Lake School District.
I know there's another meeting coming up in December. We'll get our listeners that information in 4 minutes. And straight ahead, we're also going to speak to the Granite School District, who's recently been through this process of school closures. I want to gain a better understanding of how the school closure process works in real time.
9:32 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes. Let's take a look at our top stories for this half hour. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has announced important dates for the reopening of 2 southern Utah temples. KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington has more.
The church says the St. George Temple will be rededicated on December 10th by St. George native President Jeffrey R. Holland, the new acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. As for the Manti Temple, the open house will run from March to April next year and will be rededicated on April 21st. The church also announced the official locations for the Toluca, Mexico Temple and the João Pessoa, Brazil Temple. You can see those on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Emma Keddington, KSL News Radio.
13 band directors from Utah will be marching in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They're joining the Band Directors Band, designed to bring awareness to musical education. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: the vast majority of employees at OpenAI are now calling on the board of that company to resign. ABC's Mike Dubusky explains.
Employees say the OpenAI board lacks competence and is incapable of overseeing the company. They say if the board doesn't resign and reinstate ousted CEO Sam Altman, they themselves will quit to join Altman at his new gig at Microsoft, leading an AI research team. Among the names calling for the board's resignation is Ilya Sutskever, OpenAI's chief scientist and the man reportedly behind the effort to fire Altman in the first place. The company board has not indicated whether it plans to accede to employees' demands. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Altman was abruptly fired last Friday by OpenAI's board, which said he was not consistently candid with them. Your money at this moment, the market's down to start the day. We're off 90 points on the Dow. That's closing in on 0.3. The S&P is off 17. The NASDAQ this hour is down 119 points. Coming up, this sunshine that you're enjoying so far today will continue not just today, but through tomorrow as we look at another storm moving in for Thanksgiving. We'll check the forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:33.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
For a little while now, we've been telling you guys about Fed Up Kitchen and how you can get healthy, delicious, ready-to-eat meals that will fill you up, but will not make you feel like you will after Thanksgiving dinner.
Fed Up Kitchen's Black Friday BOGO sale is back. So what you need to do is go to fedupkitchen.com and you get 1 4-week meal program and you get another 4 weeks at half off after you buy that 1 4-week meal program.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks of free healthy meals. You can order online at fedupkitchen.com.
That's right. I love the fact that you can just reach in the refrigerator, Dave, when you get hungry for lunch, and there's that meal sitting there already prepped in a container. You know it's healthy. You know it's easy. No mess in the kitchen. You just heat it and eat it.
And sometimes when we say it's portion controlled, it feels like, well, that's code for I'm going to be hungry. But I didn't find that at all. When I ate the meal, I was full. I was satisfied. It's high in protein, low in carbs and fats.
Gluten-free, macro-friendly. There's pickup and delivery options available. Again, all you need to do is go to fedupkitchen.com to place your order.
Is your payment too much? Is your interest rate too high? Are you just driving a car you don't love? I'm Josh Osborne with Volkswagen Southtown, and it's time to switch and save.
Switch and save your way at Volkswagen Southtown. Get a low sign then drive lease and pay $0 down and $0 next month. Or switch your rate and get as low as 3.9% for 72 months. Or save by getting $1,000 more for your trade.
Don't miss out. Switch and save at Volkswagen Southtown. Visit VWSouthtown.com.
Financing through VCI OAC.
This joyful sound is the No More Chemo bell at Intermountain Health St. George Hospital. And it means that Sarah Parker beat cancer. It also means her doctor spotted it early enough to treat, and that her oncologist helped her fight it every step of the way. It means that her nurse helped her keep track of medicines, and that a case manager made the whole experience just a little bit easier. Every time we hear that bell, it reminds us that all things are possible when we work together. It reminds us of the power of we. Intermountain Health.
More Utahns are turning side hustles into cash, but watch out. Matt Gephardt warns you about one gotcha that could blow up your side hustle and your finances.
I don't think I need it.
Get Gephardt, Side Hustle Gotcha, tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Feeling frustrated? Ignored? Deceived? It's time to get Gephardt. Get Gephardt. Weeknights at 10 on KSL.
Time again for traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Heather Kelly's in the traffic center.
And we still have big delays, Tim, northbound I-15 in Utah County. This is between 800 North and Orem and the Pleasant Grove exit up in Pleasant Grove. It's due to a crash. It had been blocking 2 right lanes. It's in the final clearing stages, but it looks like there's still a right lane and shoulder blocked in the area. There's also delays eastbound I-80 between 700 East and 23rd East. That is due to construction with the left lane closed. Winter is coming, and Burt Brothers wants you safe on the winter roads. Save $130 now off a set of 4 Bridgestone Blizzak tires. Burt Brothers, affordable, complete auto care, done better. BurtBrothers.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Sunny today and tomorrow. Highs will be in the upper 40s, but a storm moving in looks like Thursday afternoon. Friday, we could see snow down to the valley floors. Saturday and Sunday are going to be dry, which is good news for Ute fans up at Rice Eccles Stadium. The Cougs, of course, are on the road at Oklahoma State. But cold with highs in the 30s for the weekend. Lows at night could be in the teens. Right now in Salt Lake City, it's 34 degrees. At KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
4 Salt Lake City schools in the Salt Lake City School District topped the potential school closure list announced last night during a meeting. The district is facing dwindling enrollment by the thousands. That's been going on for about a decade. So in a moment, though, Dave, I want to take us outside the Salt Lake City School District, hop over to the Granite School District, which is in the middle of the Salt Lake County, for a discussion on the anatomy of a school closure. I wanted to dissect how it works and the toll it takes on families.
Well, and I want to push back a little bit about the toll it takes on families. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on it, but I think kids are so adaptable, just kind of naturally. Kids are adaptable. They make new friends easily. They're used to changing teachers every single year. So the fact that their life gets shaken up a little bit, they're not guaranteed to be with their friends in every single classroom from year to year. So is it really as impactful and terrible as we were hearing from parents who were really devastated?
If you missed the news a little earlier, we were just on the line live with the Salt Lake City School District after the release of the 4 elementary schools that it's leaning toward closing. Final decision has not been made, won't be made till January. It's important to note that there is another meeting. It is a public meeting. I want to get the date on that. I'm hoping I have it handy here. I'm gonna double check myself before I put that date out on the upcoming meeting. It's going to be at West High. It's going to be in the evening. It's going to be at the first part of December. We're going to get you the exact date in a moment. But you've got these 4 elementary schools: Hawthorne, Benyon, Jackson, and Riley. They've been zeroed in on by the district, the top of the list for potential closure. Now, remember, there were 7 total schools that were being considered. Not all of them made it to the top, and I'm sure there's parents breathing a sigh of relief. Emerson, you're safe. Newman, you're safe. Wasatch Elementary, you're safe. But the other 4 listed, you're not safe. I don't know how else to put that.
And I think when you look at the number of students in these schools, I was surprised at how few students were at some of these elementary schools.
Like under 200 at Riley Elementary, under 200, about 156 at Benyon Elementary. Ben Horsley of the Granite School District, good morning. We know that your district went through this. I think it was the end of last school year where you closed 3 elementary schools, Mill Creek, Twin Peaks, and Spring Lane. So walk us through how that works once the decision is made to close it. Do parents get word of like where they have to send their kid the next year? Do they get to bid on what school they want to send their child to?
Well, I think Salt Lake and us are kind of trying to utilize the same type of process here. And what Dave said is actually really powerful and impactful. Our kids are just fine. And then we have actually lots of data to show that our kids actually end up being in better situations when they're in schools that have a little bit more population to them as opposed to a school with 200. And we find that our teachers and our parents are a lot more satisfied after the fact when they realize they're in a much better situation when there's more teachers to pull from. One of the big things after school closure in that January, February, March timeframe, we really try to work through a transition process, hold events with schools so that they can start getting introduced. These changes are much more difficult on our parents than they are on our kids.
Let's talk about that, the toll on the parents. What are those? Why do you find, or why do they find this to be difficult?
Change is hard, right? Nobody likes to change, and especially when you mentioned 3 school closures last year. We see parents who live right across the street from the school. Why would you want to have to travel now a mile or so to a different school location? I get that. I'm a parent as well. My kid rides her bike to school every day, almost a mile and a half. I understand why that can be difficult. But what parents are probably not taking into consideration when it becomes a little more transparent and more clear in the springtime is when they're working through the open enrollment process. And because these schools are such small populations, you're talking about schools that have had upwards of 1,000 kids, and now we're trying to put 500 in them. There is plenty of room for opportunities for open enrollment, which is the law of the land. And so one thing we've tried to do, in particular with our transitions, and I know Salt Lake has tried to address, as they put these new boundaries together, that there's still capacity at other locations so parents can exercise school choice, which is totally legal.
What happens to the properties that these schools sit on? And are they left open? Are they going to get redesigned? Or are they just bulldozed?
It depends on the location. In Granite School District, we are reluctant to let go of any sort of real estate, and we work closely with our municipal partners to look at open space options, alternative programming at those locations. At Oker Hills Elementary in Kearns, which closed a few years ago, we're working on a lease deal with Kearns Metro Township for them to take over the property. At Spring Lane Elementary, the building is in such horrible condition that it will be bulldozed, but the city wants to take over a long-term lease and turn it into a dog park and some open space where we can maintain the property and have some flexibility down the road, but at the same time the property gets put to good public use.
Did you find when these schools close that you need to bring in more busing because of the boundary changes, or did things even themselves out, Ben?
Things actually even themselves. And part of our process is trying to work to reduce bus routes by virtue of the fact that we want our school communities to be walkable. I know Salt Lake has a comparable process where they're trying to reduce and make communities as walkable as possible. But let's be clear, we can do that all we want. but parents are very reluctant to allow their children to walk. We're in the middle of a school closure at Western Hills in the Kearns area, and I had a parent at one of those meetings say, my kid lives 2 blocks from the school, and I'm not letting them walk no matter what. So in all these situations, walkable and safety are certainly prioritized discussion points, but at the same time, more than ever, parents are simply driving their kids to school no matter what.
So Western Hills in the Granite District also potentially on the closure list on the horizon, Ben?
That is correct. Yeah. The board voted already earlier this month. The second vote and public hearing will take place in December.
My goodness.
Ben Horsley, thank you for joining us from the Granite School District.
If you live in the Salt Lake City School District, or even if you don't, we're going to take your live phone calls in just a moment. You can sound off, weigh in, share your thoughts on the school closures. But I also want to mention that the next public hearing for the school closures in the Salt Lake City School District will happen Tuesday, December 5th. 6:30 in the evening, right across the street here from Broadcast House at West High School. So if you have concerns, whether your school stays open or gets closed, you can chime in at that public hearing. You can also chime in straight ahead. We're going to take your live phone calls. Do you support the Salt Lake City School District's decision to put Benyon, Hawthorne, Jackson, and Riley elementary schools on the list, on the top of the list for potential closures? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We know Utah relies on KSL for balance and fair treatment.
We provide news and analysis from all sides.
Utah's Morning News from 5 to 9.
Dave and Debbie, 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Hello, this is former Utah Governor Gary Herbert. Salt Lake City is fortunate to have a mayor who cares more about results than partisan politics. And that's why I've endorsed Mayor Erin Mendenhall for re-election. We don't always agree on policy, but she's always willing to listen and to collaborate. Erin is crisis-tested and has proven to be a strong leader for Salt Lake City. I hope you'll vote Erin Mendenhall for mayor and return your ballot today.
Learn more at erinmendenhall.com. Paid for by Erin Mendenhall for Salt Lake City.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call now for your free info kit. 800-961-5544. 800-961-5544.
Hey, Derek Overstreet here from the New Millennium Group, financial advisors in Utah. You know, I've been helping people retire in the state of Utah for the last 20 years. The way we do that is we actually find out what is important to you. We create a step-by-step plan that takes into consideration your income, your debt, whether you want money from real estate, stock market, annuities, life insurance, whatever. If you want to deal with professionals, people that are fiduciaries and have a legal responsibility and obligation to do what's in your best interest, give my team a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Or go to my website, utahsfinancialplanner.com. If you'd like to retire 3 to 5 years before you thought it was possible, give my team a call right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I was there for the opening night of Elf the Musical. I was there solo, not because the rest of the family doesn't want to see the play. They're dying to see it, and we've got family tickets, including tickets for Dee's family coming in from Missouri in early December. They're going to love this production of Elf the Musical, and Buddy the Elf is absolutely amazing. For the first time ever, I saw skating. I mean, real skating on the stage at Hale Center Theater. And don't forget, right in the middle of the play, there is a production number sung by fatigued Santa Clauses proclaiming that Nobody cares about Santa anymore. It is spectacular. Elf the Musical. Make sure you get your tickets right now. And don't forget your tickets to A Christmas Carol. It always sells out. 2024 season tickets are available now. Get your gift cards. Everybody loves the gift of theater from Hales Center Theater, hct.org.
Attention Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Don't wait for bad weather to schedule professional snow service with GoPave Utah. Your complete parking lot safety starts at gopavutah.com.
You know what? I think the holidays are the worst time of year for your furnace to go out. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and every November it feels like people get extra stressed when faced with the need to replace their furnace. The money they've been saving is supposed to go to Christmas, and now they're faced with a choice: Christmas or comfort. This holiday season, Any Hour Services wants to help alleviate some of that stress with our special holiday financing. No money down and no payments until next year. Plus, if you schedule a free estimate before the end of November, Any Hour Services will give you $1,500 off any full system you buy. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. Again, during the month of November, Any Hour Services will give you $1,500 off any furnace and air conditioner you buy. And you can take advantage of our special holiday financing with no money down and no payments until next year. For more details, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, it's Election Day here in Utah. For your vote to be counted, you have to either vote in person or make sure to leave your ballot in a drop box by 8 o'clock tonight. Second, Hawthorne, Mary W. Jackson, Emlyn Benyon, and Riley Elementary Schools have been recommended by the Salt Lake City School District for closure. And third, the Salt Lake City Utah Committee for the Games will take part in an important meeting today to present key elements of its bid to the IOC's Future Host Commission. We're going to look for a high today of 46 degrees, sunny skies, and right now it's 34. Let's get you back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Excited that starting in January, so after we all get back from holiday breaks, Dave and I are finally going to be on Fridays. From 9 to 11, you can start your Fridays with, you'll start your Fridays with Utah's Morning News, but you continue the great news coverage and talk with us from 9 to 11 every Friday.
Yeah, and then pick up the movie show from 11 to 1. It'll be a great way to start your weekend. But yeah, we're starting on Fridays.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
We're taking your live phone calls. If you want to weigh in, we want to hear from you. If you have a child in the Salt Lake City School District, this could potentially impact you. 4 schools in the Salt Lake City School District closer to closing for good because of declining enrollment district-wide. I'll get to the list in just a moment of those 4 schools.
And I was very interested in listening to the parents of that meeting. I think we have a little something from parents when they heard the announcement, they knew that their elementary school was being closed.
I am devastated. These friends and these bonds that they've started to form are foundational and really provide them confidence and security, and they have such great teachers and such a wonderful environment, and it's all getting broken up.
And I'm trying to put myself in these shoes because I've had kids. I've got an 8th grader right now, so it's not that far removed from having kids in elementary schools. And I guess I don't totally understand the worry and the devastation that these parents are feeling. Number one, because I find kids to be incredibly adaptable. There's no guarantee they're going to be with their friends from year to year. If you're stuck in this grade or that, you may not have any friends from school year to school year in that class. Transportation is not a huge deal. If you're too far away, they bus you anyway. You change teachers every single year. So I just find it way harder on parents than it would be on kids.
Well, you're sure prickly. I mean, would you
empathy.
Would you want to be that parent at that meeting last night who gets home to their child at 9 o'clock at night and go, guess what? Hawthorne Elementary made it to the top. Guess what? Benyon Elementary, I'm sorry, we're at the top of the list. Jackson, Riley Elementary at the top of the list. What I found odd, and Yandri Chatwin with the Salt Lake City School District joined us early to explain. I mean, there was a lot of metrics and data and and parsing through numbers involved in this decision. But when I saw the list in Hawthorne Elementary, and by the way, I was just at Hawthorne Elementary 10 days ago, and I was formerly the education reporter over at Channel 4 News for many years in the 90s, a long time ago. But Hawthorne Elementary has always been a bustling elementary school right there on 7th East and 1700 South. And in fact, they have 400 students, according to the data I'm looking at, enrolled in that school. But then you look at Benyon, and I feel bad for Benyon. I mean, you've got 156 students there. So Hawthorne's on the list, and so is Benyon. And as a parent, if I was sending my child to Hawthorne Elementary, I think we've got plenty of kids attending this school. There's no way we're going to rise to the top of the list. But they explained that there's, they want to make the schools walkable, and they've got other metrics involved in special programs at some schools and not at others. And then there's a food pantry issue. So I understand there's a lot that went into this decision, but baffling if you just look at the enrollment numbers. Like Jackson Elementary, you have almost 400 students there. Riley Elementary, also on the list, you have less than 200.
So I'm not super familiar with Hawthorne Elementary. I don't know if they could fit 900 and now they're down to 400. But let me just bring up Benyon and their 156 students. If you have an elementary with 156 students and you have one teacher, K through 6, that's an average of 21 students per class. So that's a very small elementary. And of course, they're not divided up perfectly, 21 students in every class. So you could have maybe 2 5th grades, and then your 3rd grade maybe has 15 kids. 156 students is just not enough. It's not sustainable. You need more.
Which schools aren't on the list? Oh, there were 7 under consideration. The district finally zeroing in on those 4 last night. That we just told you, Hawthorne, Benyon, Jackson, and Riley. These are the ones that are not on the list. Wasatch, you're safe. Wasatch is in the Avenues. Newman Elementary, it's in Rose Park. It's safe. Emerson Elementary, again, I don't remember where all of these schools are just off the top of my head, so I do have to Google them. 11th East, about 1300 South. Emerson Elementary, you're safe. But this is an ongoing issue for the Salt Lake City School District, and it is also an issue in the Granite School District. Ben Horsley at the Granite District just told us that they're undergoing a study and some voting on Western Hills. Is it Western Hills? Remind me. West Hills Elementary in the Kearns area. Yandri Chatwin, the Salt Lake City School District, explaining why the district decided to close those 4 schools, or potentially close, I should say, those 4 schools. Final decision has not been made.
What it came down to is looking at the factors that we were required to check in policy and taking into account community input. As we looked at the data, folks who hop on our website and see that data table, there are like 40-something columns on there. There were a lot of factors. So what we honed in on were the outliers, the factors that could be used to differentiate between schools. And then as we compared those data points and took community input into account, these were the 4 schools that rose to the top.
It's Western Hills in the Granite District. Sorry.
One of the things that should take away some of the sting of having your school closed is the Salt Lake City School District superintendent said, we're not going to reduce anyone that has a job, whether it's a cafeteria worker, a paraprofessional, teaching aide, or a teacher. They're not going to lose their job. We're going to divvy them up essentially and assign them to other parts of the schools in the district, which means you're going to give an influx of new resources into these schools. So parents, if you are thinking, we just don't have the resources at this school because we're so small, well, when you go to a larger school, this will increase the resources. There will be less open positions. I see this as a big win.
On our text line at 57500, here's one for you, Dave. You'll love this. Our elementary school closed, Roslyn Heights. Roslyn Heights, oh my goodness, I'm having a hard time today with my pronunciations. Years ago, and people thought they were going to die. This is literally, I'm just reading this cold. It's been just fine. Kids will be fine.
Yeah. Kids are adaptable.
Amen, Dave. It's a building.
Yeah, it is. We have these strange attachments. My school right now that all of my kids went to, the elementary school is Columbia Elementary. I was class of whatever. I was the first student in that school when it was built. If they closed it tomorrow, I would be fine. Great. We go to Knowlton. We go to Kaysville. It is a building. It's the people inside. It's the teachers I'm far more concerned about.
I bet you'd want a brick from that building, though. It's nostalgic. You run over and grab a brick from the building. This listener at 57500 says, how about reminding parents how they react to their kids having to change schools is going to affect how their kids react. I want to remind you, big coverage of Election Day, starting with Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, straight ahead.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, Utah Governor Spencer Cox hoping for anyone beside the current presidential frontrunners to be on the debate stage in Utah next October. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
It's looking more and more likely that the 2024 election will rerun candidates Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
the question is Justice radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Governor Cox says that's his least desired scenario, but he says it's probably going to be polarizing no matter who takes the stage. One wrinkle is that the Republican nominee might not even show up, since the Republican National Committee split with the Commission on Presidential Debates last year. Cox says the hope is still for both candidates to appear and hash out their ideas, whoever they are, but acknowledges that he's rooting for anyone but the current leaders in the polls to make their case in Utah next year. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
And our top national story this hour from ABC News. TSA employees will have their hands full this week with holiday travelers, but they are getting paid more to screen passengers now. TSA Administrator David Pekoski says more of the agency's workers are sticking with their jobs.
Congress approved, the president requested a pay adjustment for everybody in TSA to finally, in 22 years, put us on the same pay scale as every other federal employee. So what that's done is it's reduced our attrition by about 50%. We have many more applicants for jobs.
Pekoski spoke with ABC's Good Morning America. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down on the day right now, 76 points. The NASDAQ is down 101 points. And our KSL weather looks like excellent weather for traveling and won't change till Thursday evening. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a no. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Does it matter?
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call Tow Cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember tow cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
It's the season of giving at Murdoch Chevrolet. Right now, take up to $6,000 off select Silverado 1500s. When you walk through the doors, you feel like family at Murdoch Chevrolet in Logan, Woods Cross, or online at murdochchev.com.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News. We're committed to letting you know exactly what's going on. On our show, we're going to bring you up to speed on what's happening in the world to this moment. At the same time, the news can be really burdensome. It can leave you feeling a little bit depressed and even a little bit more depressed. My Minute of News is just a moment to lift you up. I'm blessed that KSL has given me the freedom to talk about whatever I want. Literally, it is my minute of news. Sometimes it's pegged to what's happening that very day. Sometimes it might be something bizarre that you didn't know happening somewhere else in the world. To make you smile for a moment, even on a difficult day, and make you realize the world is still spinning. I am so honored that so many people have appreciated and enjoy the Minute of News every afternoon.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, crews are still trying to clean up a crash in Utah County. This is northbound I-15, right at the Pleasant Grove exit. It's been blocking a right lane and shoulder for more than an hour now, and traffic is backed up all the way to 800 North in Orem. A lot of people are opting to take Geneva Road as an alternate, but that's getting overly congested as well as people head up to State Street into Pleasant Grove and head back to I-15 from there. You also still have some significant delays eastbound I-80 due to construction through Sugar House. Many families face food insecurity. You can help by donating to Macy's Harvest of Hope Drive, where proceeds benefit childhood hunger, now through November 30th. Visit any Macy's store or online at macys.com/online to donate. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny today and tomorrow with highs in the upper 40s. The storm moves into Utah Thursday afternoon. Friday, we could see snow down to the valley floors. Right now, we're looking at 36 degrees. It's partly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
If you're driving on the freeway this morning, you looked up at one of those digital billboards, you saw the Utah Department of Transportation is doing a fine job reminding you that it is election day, doing a fine job reminding you not to go to the post office, to in fact drop your ballot off at a ballot box.
Yeah, and just a reminder, this is an odd year election. Some call it a municipal or a local election. It's not the sexiest election, but it's an important election because this is typically where you vote for your mayors, your city council. In my neighborhood, we're voting for the sewer district trustee. There's nothing and nobody I care about more than the sewer district trustee. I want that bad boy running smooth.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson live on the line with us. Thanks so much. I'm wondering what turnout is right now for Dave's sewer district trustee vote. We'll get to that later. But overall, Lieutenant Governor, how has turnout been?
Well, of course, it's a low turnout election. Typically, these municipal elections are pretty low, but we're just right under 30% right now as of before the polls opened this morning. So hopefully, as the rest of the ballots get processed, as the ones that were mailed and they had to be postmarked as of yesterday, as those come in and get counted, hopefully we'll have a fairly robust turnout for our municipal elections. Of course, the turnout that I just mentioned is for the 2nd Congressional District only.
Okay.
So maybe it's a little higher there in the 2nd District.
So what was your best case scenario? What were you hoping for? And where do you think we'll settle in as far as turnout?
Well, it's really hard to predict. Of course, we want to make sure that as many people as possible vote. That's always our concern as election officials, that we're not impeding that in any way. Municipal odd-year elections are challenging anyway. People just aren't as accustomed to it. They don't hear as much about their local election or offices as they hear about, presidential elections or their statewide elections. But they're so important. Like you mentioned, the sewer. You want to make sure that when your toilet flushes, that everything's working properly. And these local elections directly affect people in their lives. It's a significant impact on your daily life. And very few people bother to show up to these. So the people who show up and actually vote have an outsized influence. And I call on all Utahns who are listening right now who have not yet voted to go vote. Show up. Be the one who has an outsized influence on what happens in your community. These elections are determined by the people who actually show up.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson live on the line on this Election Day 2023. It's a general election, but you might not know it because it feels like it's so close to Thanksgiving. They had to kind of switch things around there on Capitol Hill to deal with the primary for the 2nd Congressional District race, and also then, of course, scoot around the general election date, and that's today. But I want to make sure we're not forgoing the obvious here, giving folks the nuts and bolts on the deadlines for today. And I want to get back to the ballot box versus post office issue. But can you get us those details, Lieutenant Governor?
Yes, of course. So every active voter, people who have regularly voted, will have been mailed a ballot. And they can take that ballot in today. If they haven't already dropped it off, they can take it to a drop box in their city. Every city has a drop box, or they can go to their in-person polling location, typically at a county clerk's office or a library or something. You can find out on vote.utah.gov where that is, and vote in person. But you can't mail ballots today. State law requires that ballots that are actually put in the U.S. Postal Service that are mailed have to be postmarked by yesterday. So if you still have your ballot, don't put it in the mail, but do take it to a drop box, and you can take it to a drop box by 8 p.m. tonight.
Sorry, you had touched on this, and it made me think. Why do we say you have to mail it in the day before? Why can't we just have the mail-in date be the same as the general election date?
Well, there are a lot of challenges with that. First of all, this is a legislative decision, and the legislature has decided that they want those mailed the day before for a number of reasons. First of all, people like to have their results sooner rather than later, and sometimes the post office takes a while. Maybe there are some post offices here in Utah. You drop it off, and then it actually gets sent somewhere out of state before it comes back to your city. It's just a challenge to get them back. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is just getting that postmark on it. You can't always verify that postmark occurs, by 8 p.m. on election day, and that's when the cutoff is. And so, there are just a few challenges with doing it on election day that are a little bit problematic. And so the legislature has just opted to have the cutoff be the day before.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson joining the show right now as we've arrived. Election day finally here. I'm wondering, Lieutenant Governor, is there any discussion behind the scenes, or maybe you can assure voters right now, will you ever foresee a day where we do away with in-person voting?
I don't in Utah because we're very much of the opinion Utahns love vote by mail. In fact, in the primary election this year, 98.5% of the people statewide and in CD2 who voted by mail. Only 1.5% voted in person. Utahns love vote by mail, but we also love having people have that option. We're an all of the above approach when it comes to voting, any of the above. We want people to vote in the way that's most comfortable for them. Some people really do prefer voting in person. They enjoy that experience. They want that experience. And so we want people to vote in whatever way feels comfortable for them. So I don't foresee us eliminating in-person voting ever in the state. Again, this is not my decision, though. This is the decision of the legislature. But we have been very good at making sure that we are accommodating all eligible voters in the state and helping them vote and remove arbitrary barriers so that they can exercise their constitutional right to vote.
Those are incredible numbers. I had no idea that 98.5% of people vote by mail, that only 1.5% of people still show up to the ballot box.
And we've really changed our ways in a very short period of time because I don't think we've been doing vote by mail. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you will, Lieutenant Governor, for more than 10 years or something like that, right?
That's right. About 11 years ago now, we started vote by mail, and it was an opt-in. It was optional for counties. And it was really the rural counties on the periphery of the state that have few voters and kind of long distances for those voters to drive to get to an in-person polling location. They were the first ones to opt in to vote by mail. And we allowed counties to just do it as they wanted to. And by 2018, Most counties in the state had already opted in. By 2020, all 29 had opted in to vote by mail. And then the pandemic hit, and the law changed to require counties to do by mail instead of an optional. But all counties already were doing it anyway.
And now we love it.
That was part of our success. Yes.
Yeah.
Our success was that the state didn't demand that this happen. It was optional, and county clerks were able to figure that out for themselves. And people really enjoy it. We have sometimes very long and complicated ballots, especially in our regular election years. You'll have constitutional amendments and a whole bunch of different races and judicial retention elections and all of those things. And it makes it much easier for people to sit down at their kitchen table, to maybe look up candidates online and really thoughtfully put together their ballot and vote without having the pressure of a 2-hour line behind them and having to just hurry and get through it.
Yeah, so true. Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, thank you so much for joining us. I love what you tweeted last night. I was chuckling about it. You're like, please, let the margins be big. Let's make the life as easy as possible for these folks. Big margins.
Yeah, I think the 2 county clerks that are on the line with us next would agree with that.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're expanding Dave and Dujanovic on KSL.
Now they'll be live on Fridays.
Starting in January, hear Dave and Debbie at 9 and the movie show at 11.
Finally, Friday on KSL News Radio.
You may be traveling this week by plane, train, or automobile.
You ever traveled by bus before? Your mood's probably not going to improve much.
No matter how you travel, KSL will keep you moving in the rush to Thanksgiving. Get where you need to go, when you need to get there. Use traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s, mornings and afternoons on KSL News Radio.
The Black Friday weekend sale begins this Friday at Boot Barn. Visit us in store for savings on top quality pieces. Get up to $40 off cowboy boots for men and women, $20 off select work boots, and select children's boots for under $50. We're closed Thanksgiving Day to spend with family, but we look forward to seeing you Black Friday weekend for our biggest sale of the year. Boot Barn. Unwrap the West.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit. And make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Everybody knows that your credit history can have a huge impact on your life, Amanda, especially when you're just starting out as an adult.
That's why Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU's new Credit Builder Loan is such a great idea. It's a way to build or to rebuild your credit.
All right, so let's talk about how it works. With Credit Builder, UCCU will open an account in your name and then provide that account with a fixed amount of funds along with a small automatic monthly payment. And as your automatic payments are made over time, of course, your credit builds, proving you're a responsible borrower and raising your credit score.
And that credit score is just so important because it determines the interest rates you'll get, higher credit limits, better loan terms because of your credit score.
And by the way, if you have kids in high school, open a Credit Builder loan in their name, and that way they're going to graduate from high school with a good credit score of their own.
It's called the Credit Builder Loan from Utah Community Credit Union, UCCU.
Just call or text UCCU or stop by any branch and start building your credit today.
UCCU, you're going to love where you bank.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Guys, your promise is your word, right? You stick by it, you live by it. So does Revive Men's Health with our Revive Promise for low T and ED. The Revive Promise means your tests and lab work are free when you begin treatment, and our low T and ED treatments are money-back guaranteed. Yes, that's right. We stand behind our treatments and our results. That's our promise to you. Revive Men's Health has successfully helped thousands of men with low T, ED, and sexual health issues since 2011. If you're experiencing symptoms like chronic low energy, less drive, sleep issues, weight gain, poor performance, bad moods, or ED, you need Revive. Don't settle. Get affordable, guaranteed, custom low T and ED solutions with lasting results from Salt Lake City's favorite men's clinic. And remember, there are no extra bills when you begin treatment. All labs and tests are free, and your low T and ED treatments are money-back guaranteed. Call Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City today to schedule your appointment. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
This week, the movie show broadcasts live from Hale Center Theater. Give the gift of memories all year long for the 2024 season. Tickets and gift cards go to hct.org.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Utah will be hosting a presidential debate next year, but there's an open question whether the Republican frontrunner will even show up. Second, President Jeffrey R. Holland will be back in his hometown next month to dedicate the renovated St. George Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Third, better pay means more employees are sticking with their jobs at TSA. Right now, 36 degrees, partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Your voice, your vote, 2024. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
It's Election Day, and how you vote today will impact 2024 and beyond. Just had Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson live on the line, and she reminded everyone that you have to get your ballot to a ballot box. Don't go to the post office. There's a whole list of reasons why you can't postmark your ballot today. We won't go back into that. We'll leave that up to the legislature if they decide to change that. But for now, you got to get it to the ballot box by 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, the reason we're a couple of weeks late is because Representative Chris Stewart suddenly resigned from Congress. I think it was September 15th. I think it was that date. Anyway, with the Republican primary, they basically had to push the entire deadline back a couple of weeks. So instead of the first Tuesday in November, now we're butting up against Thanksgiving.
Full election coverage all day long. It began this morning with Utah's Morning News. We'll continue it. Boyd will continue it. Jeff this afternoon will continue it. KSL at night tonight starting at 7. Let's bring in right now Lanny Chapman and also who's the Salt Lake County clerk, and Ricky Hatch, who's the Weber County clerk. You two know each other, right?
Hey, Ricky.
That's right. Hi, Lanny.
So Lanny's in Salt Lake County. Ricky's in Weber County. Lanny, let's start with you. How's turnout been in Salt Lake County?
You know, it is an odd year for many reasons. One of them being our election day is the week of Thanksgiving. So any previous data that we've had kind of goes out the window. Right now, we're sitting at about 25% as of last night of Salt Lake County voters have had their ballots turned in. We have seen quite a few this morning, so I'm really hoping we get closer to 30 or above percent of participation.
Ricky, walk us through what the next few days look like as all the ballots get turned in. Are you going to be forcing people to count in between bites of their turkey sandwich?
We certainly hope not, but really the busiest day for election officials really is tomorrow. That's when ballots that are dropped off late in the day at drop boxes and in person, that's when we're counting those. And so in Weber, we'll probably get about a third of all the ballots we'll probably get tonight. And we'll be processing those tomorrow furiously to try and get as much reported out before Thanksgiving as possible.
Lanny Chapman, Salt Lake County Clerk, Ricky Hatch, Weber County Clerk, both live on the line through the magic of phones and radio and technology. At the same time, so Ricky, when can listeners start counting on some results that matter?
Well, the nice thing is the results that will be posted tonight, they're unofficial, of course, for 2 weeks, but the results that are tonight represent a very high statistical sample of the entire county and the entire state. So even if, let's say, only half of the total ballots received are reported tonight, which it'll be more than that, but that represents a great statistical sample. So unless the race is really close, I wouldn't anticipate the percentages to change much at all between that and 2 weeks from now when we certify.
Lanny, Ricky dodged my question. Are you going to make your poll workers work on Thanksgiving?
I am thankful for our poll workers. They get Thanksgiving off. However, Black Friday, we're going to be working.
Oh, no. Well, that's good for the rest of us who will be out shopping for deals. I'm sorry to those poll workers. Are they volunteering, or are these folks who actually work at the county clerk's offices who will be working on the ballots that day?
So both. We have an amazing amount of full-time staff, and then our volunteers are just incredible. They come back year after year, and even though I told them about the uniqueness of this election being the week of Thanksgiving, they all said, sign me up.
Ricky,
yeah, it's the same with Weaver County. They love. They do it not for the money. They do it because they love the process. And this afternoon, the Weber State men's basketball team is going to come help us out, and so I get to work with them and be reminded of how short I really am.
That's so cool. We talked to the lieutenant governor just moments ago. Of course, she's oversees all things election on Capitol Hill, and she was talking about the amazing turnout when it comes to mail-in ballots compared to in-person voting. Dave, what was the statistic?
98%. 98.5%, I think she said, are votes by mail. Are you seeing similar numbers in Salt Lake County, Lanny?
It's pretty common for us to see about at least 90% of those that participate in any given election voting by mail. We'll see if that holds true for this election. I think it will.
Ricky, how about you up there in Weber?
Yeah, we're pretty close to that. Statewide, in the primary, 99% of voters voted by mail or drop box, and less than 1% voted in person. I suspect it won't be quite that dramatic, but I think in the high 90s.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, both of you. Best of luck today, and enjoy Thanksgiving, of course. It seems like it's the only reprieve you'll have for a little bit, but thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much to
Thank
both
you.
of you. All
Thanks,
right.
Lanny. Break a leg.
You too, Ricky.
Happy Election
Goodbye.
Day. When we spoke to the lieutenant governor just moments ago, I asked her, does she think in-person voting will go away in Utah because so many people have adopted and love to vote by mail?
I don't in Utah because we're very much of the opinion Utahns love vote by mail. In fact, in the primary election this year, 98.5% of the people statewide and in CD2 who voted by mail. Only 1.5% voted in person. Utahns love vote by mail, but we also love having people have that option. We're an all of the above approach when it comes to voting, any of the above. We want people to vote in the way that's most comfortable for them. Some people really do prefer voting in person. They enjoy that experience. They want that experience. And so we want people to vote in whatever way feels comfortable for them. So I don't foresee us eliminating in-person voting ever in the state. Again, this is not my decision, though. This is the decision of the legislature. But we have been very good at making sure that we are accommodating all eligible voters in the state and helping them vote and remove arbitrary barriers so that they can exercise their constitutional right to vote.
It really is incredible how popular mail-in voting has become in Utah. As she said, 98.5% of folks are voting by mail or dropping their ballot off at the drop box. It's just how we do it. Now, if you want to make people absolutely obsessed with in-person voting, take it away. If you were to take away in-person voting where it wasn't even an option, all of a sudden, because this is the way our brains are wired, we would be obsessed with showing up and standing in lines. Right now, you have both options. People are clearly saying, I'm totally comfortable with mail-in voting. Let's just do that. I don't want to stand in lines. There's a few people that just still enjoy it and want to go in, stand in line, and have that full experience.
You think we'd be obsessed?
Oh, we would be obsessed.
What are you talking about?
If you're taking it away, if you took away in-person voting, I'm telling you, people would become obsessed with it.
I I don't agree.
Oh, we're
with
absolutely that petty.
We're not that.
We are absolutely that
I
petty.
mean, come on. I appreciate the lieutenant governor taking a little time out of her busy day today to give us a call. She gave us a ring-a-ding about 20 minutes ago. Talked to her at length about getting your ballot in by 8 o'clock tonight and all things elections. Lanny Chapman of the Salt Lake County Clerk's Office. She is the Salt Lake County Clerk. Ricky Hatch, Weber County Clerk, also joining us. And guess who else we have in the lineup today? I told you, I promised you, this is going to be a big show today. Governor Spencer Cox calling the show in the 11 o'clock hour about the other big political news of the day. University of Utah will be hosting the third presidential debate in 2024 in October of next year. I mean, is this gonna be what it's like?
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why
because,
would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
the question Supreme
is
Court Justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Speaking of petty,
I want to ask the governor if he.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why
because,
would you answer that
because the
question?
question
The question
Supreme Court
is Justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Is the governor going to be like, yeah, that's who we want here at the University of Utah? Yeah. We'll ask him in the 11 o'clock hour.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. It's Election Day here in Utah. For your vote to be counted, you must either vote in person today or leave your ballot in a drop box by 8 o'clock tonight. The time for mail-in voting is gone for this election cycle. If you aren't registered to vote yet, you can take care of that with proof of ID and your residence at the polls today. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has announced some important dates for the reopening of 2 temples in Utah. KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington has details.
First, we now know when the St. George Temple will be rededicated. The church says St. George native President Jeffrey R. Holland, the new acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, will do the honors on December 10th. The church also announced the Manti Temple's open house will run from March to April of next year. It will then be rededicated April 21st.
The church also announced official sites for one temple in Mexico and another in Brazil. You can find those on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Elon Musk going after the watchdog outfit Media Matters, nonprofit media group, for publishing a story saying X, formerly Twitter, promoted anti-Semitic content. We have more from ABC's Aaron Katursky.
After Media Matters accused X of placing brand name ads next to pro-Nazi content, Elon Musk promised a thermonuclear lawsuit. What he filed accuses Media Matters of a smear campaign. Musk's social media platform said Media Matters decided it would not let the truth get in the way of a story it wanted to publish, so it could drive advertisers from the platform and destroy X.
Now, several major companies, including ABC News parent company Disney, stopped advertising on X after Musk allegedly backed an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory posted by another user on that platform. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average, down on the day right now, 62 points. The NASDAQ is down 94. And our KSL weather, just a fine day for driving somewhere. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I think about all the time is lighting in my house. Too dark, too light, not enough light. People leave the lights on. I think about lighting all the time.
You got to update your lighting because you talk about not having any ceiling lights. Like you just have a lot of lamps sitting around your house.
We were lamp central. It was like just a house of lamps.
And that happens. You buy an older home. I've bought older homes, and you just don't have any lights that are in great spots or in the corners somewhere. Got to give Master Electrical a call. And when they come to your home, Master Electrical is going to walk you through the bid, and they're going to give you their upfront pricing guarantee. Tell them what the upfront pricing guarantee is, Dave.
Well, they come and they'll give you a bid, and you can trust that the bid is what you're going to pay. So often, and I think we've all had this experience, they come out, folks come out, give us a bid. But then when we actually get the invoice, it's more. Sometimes it's a little more. Sometimes it's a lot more. Master Electrical says, nope, the bid is the guarantee.
Yep. This means no surprises on your invoice. They do everything that has to do with electrical: ceiling fans, smoke detectors, generators, EV chargers.
Yeah, all you have to do is give them a call, 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
Or check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high-commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
I'm Erin Mendenhall. No amount of crime is okay, but crime in Salt Lake City is at its lowest in years. We're putting more officers on the street, reducing response times, improving training, and we've partnered with the feds to take violent repeat offenders off our streets. I've worked hard to make our city safer. That's why our police and firefighters have endorsed me for a second term. I'm determined to keep our city moving forward, and I won't let anyone take us back. Paid for by Erin Mendenhall for Salt Lake City.
Shields is grateful for our customers, communities, and fellow associates. We give thanks for all the little things in our lives, the things we can often overlook. Thanksgiving reminds us to take the time to open our hearts, to pause, to reflect, and to pray. With grateful hearts, we praise God for family and friends, for health and freedom, and for the rich blessings we enjoy every day as Americans. Amen. Have a blessed Thanksgiving from all of us at Shields.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the accident we had northbound I-15 in Utah County has cleared. All the lanes are open. Still just a little bit of residual brake light showing up between Linden and Pleasant Grove, but that'll be gone in the next few minutes. Where our biggest area of delay is eastbound I-80 between 1300 and 2300 East. That is due to repaving. The left lane and shoulder are blocked. It just takes extra time to get through there, heading to Parley's Canyon. Live at the Eccles presents Gentry, the Gentleman Trio, on November 24th and 25th at the Eccles Theater on Main Street in downtown Salt Lake City. Heather Kelly and the KSL Traffic Center.
And our KSL weather will be mostly sunny today and looking pretty good through Wednesday. But then the storm moves in Thursday afternoon. Friday we could see snow down to the valley floors. Saturday and Sunday will be dry but cold. Highs only in the 30s. And right now we're at 41 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
All right, we're going to start this by talking about how to avoid Black Friday shopping mistakes and save yourself a whole bunch of money. I've got a list of 4 things you should not do if you're going to go Black Friday shopping, and you know you want to. But Dave thinks he's going to one-up me.
Yeah.
What are you going to talk about?
I have a different role in this segment. You will talk about the Black Friday shopping mistakes. I'm talking about Thursday. I want to talk about Thanksgiving. I've got some turkey tips. I've got some very important information. So you go ahead and talk about Friday. I'm going to talk about Thursday.
It's literally a better list than my list. You'll never hear me say that again. But let's start with Black Friday. Number 1 shopping mistake folks make on Black Friday, according to YLife. It's YahooLife.com. Failing to plan. I find myself in the thrust of this every single year when I run into Kohl's. I'm like, why am I at Kohl's? Like I'm nothing against Kohl's, but why am I here? And then I'm just running around, like usually the men's section, trying to grab my son a shirt or something like that. I don't really have a good plan. So failing to plan ends up costing you more. You end up buying a bunch of gifts you never needed to buy, and nobody probably needs anyway. Second Black Friday mistake, falling for deals that aren't actually deals. I have some insight on this, but this is a throwback to the 1980s. Which we all know was a really long time ago, Debbie. I mean, that was a really long time ago. I'm
guessing the practices probably haven't changed much.
I don't know how the practices are because I don't work in the back room at a men's store anymore. But when I did, I can tell you what our practice was. I have never signed a non-disclosure agreement with this place that was paying me $3.50 an hour. So you're lucky. You're going to learn this. We would get brand new merchandise in boxes, and back in the day, the boxes were made of cardboard. So we would rifle through the boxes, and we would pull out all of the. Let's say there's slacks, Sansabelt slacks. Mm-hmm.
Sansabelt. Never heard of them.
1980s. Yeah, it's a big brand. I probably still
you never heard of Gerbeau?
Have you ever been to the men's warehouse? Hello. Okay. And we would, before we would ever put it on the floor for sale, we would look at the tag. It was printed back then. We did have printers. It was printed. White tag with black font. And it would say, let's say it said $25.99. We would automatically redline it. And we would put $19.99 on it. So it would make you feel.
It was standard.
You were getting a great deal because, my goodness, you found these Sansabelt slacks on sale for $5 off. We never intended to sell them to you.
At $25.
Never. We were redlining like crazy back in the back room.
So rule number 2, don't fall for deals that aren't actually deals.
I mean, just think about it. If it's a really great, it's like 75% off. Yeah, that's probably a great deal. But if it's just redlined on the floor, I don't know if they do that anymore. I thought it was super sneaky, but I still worked there for like 3 years.
It's
I
also
wasn't enough to quit.
It paid the bills. The thing is, it's so easy to double check the prices on your phone.
Yeah, I do that.
It's very easy. Just you're like, oh, is that a good deal? Let me compare.
Yeah, compare. That's a great tip. Use an app for that. Black Friday shopping mistake number 3: overspending. I think SNL, Saturday Night Live, has the best skit on overspending.
If you don't have any money, you should not buy anything. Sounds interesting.
Sounds confusing.
I don't know, honey. This makes a lot of sense. There's a whole section here on how to buy expensive things using money you save.
Give me that. And where would you get this saved money?
Okay, but what if I want something but I don't have any money?
You don't buy it. Well, let's say I don't have enough money to buy something. Should I buy it anyway?
I mean, you know what your budget is. Don't be forced into overspending. I say lay the ground rules before with family members. Like, hey, are we just going to do a gift exchange? Talk about that over Thanksgiving, and then hope it doesn't lead to a big family fight. But talk about that over Thanksgiving dinner. Number 4, and then Dave's got his list, and he's antsy to get to his list of what not to do on Thanksgiving Day with a turkey. Purchasing gifts that should never be gifts.
Okay.
I'll toss that over to you now.
What does that mean?
Oh, you need to know what that means?
I'm not sure what that means.
Mistake number 4, purchasing gifts that should never be gifts. Don't give Aunt Betty anti-wrinkle cream from Sephora. Did that
hey,
make
Dave,
sense?
I got some just for men if you want to get rid of some of those gray hairs.
Yeah. Don't show up at the Christmas gift exchange with anti-wrinkle cream from Lancome from Sephora.
I got you a gym membership.
If it's from Ulta. Don't do it from Ulta. Don't do it from Macy's.
I got you some Nutrisystem.
Don't. My goodness.
Those are great gifts.
Oh. A buy one, get one for Nutrisystem.
Here's a dictionary.
You are not going to have time for your list. You are simply not going to have time.
I love that. Yeah, don't purchase gifts that should never be given as gifts.
This happens all
that was amazing.
the time. You know what I got one year? We're going to run out. We gotta push your segment to the 11 o'clock hour. You know what I got one year from my husband? 2 sets of house slippers. What woman in the world would need? You know, it gets worse.
Oh.
Well, I have big feet. That's a secret. If any of you see me out in public, you know I have big feet. I mean, they're not small. Okay, it's hard enough for me to get this body up and down the stairs without flipping end over end backwards down the steps because my feet are large and they always have been. No, he buys me a pair of house slippers and I'm like, ooh, oh, I love them. And then I open the next gift and it's another pair of house slippers that are so massive. They were like with a bear head on each end. Like something you would buy a 7-year-old child. And I was trying to make him feel good.
I love these Bullwinkle slippers. That's amazing. One's Rocky Raccoon.
We had 4 sets of stairs all over our house.
Oh, my goodness.
I almost broke my neck.
Well, so much for Dave's turkey tips.
I promise you, we will squeeze it in the 11 o'clock hour because Dave's put together an amazing list, but apparently mine was better.
Dave and Dujanovic. Treat yourself to the depth and analysis on Inside Sources.
Floyd Matheson goes beyond the headlines of the biggest stories.
Listen to Inside Sources from 1 to 3
on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. I was there for the opening night of Elf the Musical. I was there solo, not because the rest of the family doesn't want to see the play. They're dying to see it, and we've got family tickets, including tickets for Dee's family coming in from Missouri in early December. They're going to love this production of Elf the Musical, and Buddy the Elf is absolutely amazing. For the first time ever, I saw skating. I mean, real skating on the stage at Hale Center Theater. And don't forget, right in the middle of the play, there is a production number sung by fatigued Santa Clauses proclaiming that nobody cares about Santa anymore. It is spectacular. Elf the Musical. Make sure you get your tickets right now. And don't forget your tickets to A Christmas Carol. It always sells out. 2024 season tickets are available now. Get your gift cards. Everybody loves the gift of theater from Hale Center Theater, hct.org.
Furnishing our living spaces hasn't changed much in decades. Until now. Euromax authentic European furniture starts with the room. Cabinets, sliding doors, dressers, and desks that are as smart as they are sleek and modern. Combining classic European design, exceptional quality American craftsmanship with convenience, comfort, and technology. Euromax declutters your space, designing entire walls of elegant, smart, and stylish storage, taking beautiful advantage of every inch. Living rooms, bathrooms, kitchen, and bedrooms. Features like concealed wiring, built-in charging, integrated lighting, automation and tech. Sustainable, eco-friendly furniture built for your lifestyle without compromise. Construction, finish, and hardware feature a lifetime warranty. Prepare to be excited about your living space. See it in action at EuromaxFurniture.com. EuromaxFurniture.com.
Get ready, Utah! It's Medicare annual enrollment period, so why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for Utah. Trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
More Utahns are turning side hustles into cash, but watch out. Matt Gephardt warns you about one gotcha that could blow up your side hustle and your finances.
I don't think I need it.
Get Gephardt's Side Hustle Gotcha tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Feeling frustrated? Ignored? Deceived? It's time to get Gephardt. Get Gephardt, weeknights at 10 on KSL.
Arrive in style in a great fitting suit from Mr. Mac. They ensure a perfect fit, offering fast, free alterations by expert tailors at all 9 Mr. Mac stores. Arrive in style. Mr. Mac. Food brings people together, but for many families, figuring out where their next meal is coming from is a challenge. 1 in 10 children struggle with hunger in Utah. No one should have to go hungry, especially children. Macy's has partnered with local food banks for the 2023 Harvest of Hope Food Drive to help keep that from happening. From now through November 30th, you can help a family in need. It's easy. At the checkout, simply let your cashier know how much you would like to donate through Macy's Icon Drive. You can also purchase a prepackaged bag of food filled with the items that food banks need most. Every donation, regardless of size, makes a difference. If you prefer to shop online, you can donate to the Harvest of Hope this season from the comfort of your home by adding either of Macy's donation options to your online shopping cart at macys.com/online. If you'd like to track the progress of donations made toward the Utah Food Bank or learn more about Harvest of Hope, visit macys.com. Macy's, happy shopping.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, it's too late to mail in your ballot for today's special election, but you can still drop it off or vote in person. Second, Elon Musk is going after Media Matters in court for its reporting on what it sees as going along with anti-Semitic tweets. Third, former Utah Governor Gary Herbert has endorsed a Republican challenger for Utah Attorney General, even though he appointed Sean Reyes, who currently holds that office. Right now, 41 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Big news after the holidays beginning in January. Dave and I are finally on Fridays. Of course, we'll still be on Monday through Thursday, 9 to noon, and on Fridays, 9 to 11.
Yeah, and then from 11 to 1, you'll still have the movie show, so you can enjoy your lunch and listen to the movie show.
The D2 Follow-Up Report. We stay connected to important stories to give you the latest.
During our coverage last week of the proposed, not quite proposed, but discussed potential freeway additions down in Utah County, Dave and I made a promise that we would look into what the Utah Transit Authority, is doing to build more public transportation options down in Saratoga Springs, in Eagle Mountain, because right now, this is one of the fastest growing areas in the state. The main road that a lot of people use, east to west, west to east, Pioneer Crossing in Utah County, is way over capacity for cars.
Already. And if you look over the next few decades, the Utah County area, this northern part of Utah Lake, so Lehigh, Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, that area, their population is going to explode. And I mean, in a way that we seldom see, because they're already pretty big communities. There's 90,000 people in Lehigh. In a couple decades, they expect that to double. Saratoga Springs is going to quadruple. Eagle Mountain is going to become 5 times its size. And we just don't have enough roads. They're not wide enough. There's not enough of them to accommodate that many people.
Talk about adding a freeway. Of course, this is years, if not a decade off, on the north shore of Utah Lake to accommodate the cars, the folks who are moving there. There's been discussion about expanding Pioneer Crossing into a 6 or 8 lane freeway. Of course, that would greatly impact a lot of the homeowners on that route. There's also been discussion about, a freeway across Utah Lake itself. But I want to keep that in mind when we're talking to the Utah Transit Authority about public transportation options, moving to that area.
Yeah, because adding that freeway on the top of Utah Lake, there would be a causeway, and it would go over through the northern part of Utah Lake, and there's some real concerns about the environmental impact on that.
Russ Fox, the Director of Planning at the Utah Transit Authority, live on the line with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the show.
So walk us through, if you can, just give us the brief on what's there now for Utah County residents in terms of public transportation. Is it busing? Are there TRAX lines going in? Front runner?
Yeah, so there's a lot of there's existing transit that we have within Utah County, and then we have a lot of plans for the future. Knowing how much this area is going to explode in the next 30 years, it's trying to address all those things. So we work very closely with our metropolitan planning organizations, and the one in Utah County is Mountain Land Association of Governments. And there's the current systems that we have in there. Obviously, we have Front Runner that runs down down to Provo right now. That is future going to expand down to Payson in the future. We have improvements for Front Runner that are going to increase the timing of going to 15-minute service at the peak in the morning and the evening, and then go to 30-minute service throughout the day. New UVX line, the BRT bus rapid transit that is down in that area. There are future plans to have them that will go from basically from the point of the mountain down through Lehigh, tying into Provo as well. So another bus rapid transit that's planned in that area. And then specifically for Eagle Mountain, there is in the Saratoga Springs area right now. We run basically just a limited bus that runs in the morning and the evening. That is going to turn into a full-time service in the future. We do have that planned. We're looking to trying to get that up and running by 2027. And with that will provide park and ride lots for people to tie in directly to Front Runner. And then with that expanded service for Front Runner, trying to get people off of the roads and using our transit system.
Those buses, nevertheless, I can imagine as this is growing, they're still running on a lot of these same crowded roads. How concerned are you about the size of the existing freeways and highways that are in this area?
You know, one of the things that would be really nice if we could, as we look at these expansions, anytime we can get a dedicated bus lane to try and help move those buses through those areas, that's one of those things that really helps us to be able to move our buses, because you're exactly right. If there's traffic, our buses get stuck in the same traffic. So dedicated bus lanes are a benefit. That's why we look at the bus rapid transit. If you're familiar with the UVX line, it has about 50% of it, a little under 50% of it is dedicated right away. And that helps move those buses out of the traffic and able to carry people to their destinations. The Central Corridor study, or the bus rapid transit that will go down through State Street, is planned to have quite a bit of dedicated right-of-way. So that is one of those things that helps. But for the Eagle Mountain area, as we start looking at that expansion, a dedicated bus lane would be extremely helpful for us. When you say dedicated bus lane, is it exclusive bus lane, or is this the buses can ride in, say, the HOV lane? There's kind of both, but a dedicated bus lane is one where it's just the buses that can operate within that lane.
Okay.
Russ Fox is live with us on the line. He's the Director of Planning with Utah Transit Authority. We wanted to follow up on our reporting from last week about the discussions about expanding freeways systems in the northern part of Utah County, kind of around American Fork, Lehigh, booming communities like Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Springs, who are going to explode in population over the next decade or so. So we've been asking Russ questions on behalf of our listeners who are concerned about the public transportation option. I feel odd asking, somebody who works for UTA a question does UTA feel like it's a little bit behind on getting public transportation options, or more public transportation options down to this Utah County area? Because I will give you that explosive growth did come, kind of all at once down there. Yeah, and I think we try to keep up with it as much as we possibly can. And again, that's why we work very closely with all of our partners, with UDOT, with Mountain Land Association and government. One of the other things that if you really want to kind of see how we look at this stuff, I don't know if you've heard of the Unified Transportation Plan. It's unique to Utah that we have, that looks at actually all the growth across the state and looks at all of our future freeways, looks at all of our future transit, looks at our active transportation. And, so we're aware of the growth of what's happening and trying to address those things and looking at the timing. And, a lot of it comes down to funding as far as what the capacity is.
Is the Unified Transportation Plan just online?
Yes.
I've got it here. Yeah, I've got it right here. Looks like there's like a heat map or something. Is that what I'm looking at, Russ?
Yeah, it talks about the Unified Transportation Plan shows like all the different roads, even addressing like rural areas. But there is, if you want to kind of know a shocking fact, is right now that plan identifies $153 billion in transportation needs. And looking at what our future is, what's available to us is $113 billion in transportation needs. So, and that, breaks it down by roads and transit and things like that. So, there's a big shortfall, and that's looking out to 2050.
Well, that's $40 billion short. That's a chunk of money. Well, Russ, thank you. That's some great information.
Yeah.
We appreciate you joining us because I know so many people are affected every single day as they're driving along, east-west, Pioneer Crossing. And if it's bad now, what it's going to be in the next 3 decades, if we don't make major changes and major investments, will be impossible to navigate.
$150 billion in transportation needs out to the year 2050. Who knew Utah would grow up so quickly? I mean, that's just 7 years away. In about 35 minutes, in the 11 o'clock hour, Governor Spencer Cox joining us about the presidential debate. We just announced that Utah is getting the final presidential debate.
This is a huge deal and a huge honor to our state, to our capital city.
Coming to Utah in 2024, but the governor's joining us at 11:35.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour: Hawthorne, Mary W. Jackson, M. Lynn Benyon, and Riley elementary schools have been recommended by the Salt Lake City School District for closure. KSL News Radio's Hugo Rickard-Bell was at the meeting last night and has details.
Even though Emerson Elementary will remain open, special programs part of what's called Magnet may be forced to move to a different school with more resources.
We have to decide what's best for our family and for our child.
Emily's son is in the second grade at Emerson, but is also part of a Spanish immersion program that may have to move to a different school.
I'm just digesting all of it. And yeah, I'm sad at the possibility of leaving Emerson because it's been a really great community.
Hugo Rickard-Bell, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A woman in New York City lost her battle with cancer, but not before she was able to raise enough money to wipe out millions of dollars in medical debt for others. KSL News Radio's Michael Commett has more.
Back in May, Casey McIntyre and her husband discovered her battle with ovarian cancer would take her life in a few weeks. But instead, they got 6 more months together. In the days leading up to Casey's death, she urged her friends to donate to RIP Medical Debt, a nonprofit that helps cover medical costs for impoverished patients. Combined with McIntyre's efforts, their donations will be converted to around $54 million of paid-off debt, according to USA Today. McIntyre passed away last Sunday. She was 38 and leaves behind her husband and their 18-month-old daughter. Michael Commett, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average down on the day right now, 59 points. The NASDAQ is down 87. And our KSL weather looks like sunny skies for your drive to Grandma's house. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:02.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Marie Osmond, an orchestral Christmas. Saturday, December 2nd at Echoes Theater.
Merry Christmas.
With special guest David Osmond. Live at the Echoes presents Marie Osmond. An orchestral Christmas, live in concert. Tickets on sale now at liveechoes.com.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Every year I tell myself, Doug, you can't procrastinate. It's time to get into Burt Brothers. Make sure that the vehicle I drive, the vehicles that Dee drives, and our family vehicles are all ready for winter. And Burt Brothers, boy, as these temperatures start to drop, soon the snowflakes are going to fall, the roads are going to be slick. You need peace of mind on Utah's snowy roads. Winter tires from Burt Brothers, they make all the difference. You can drive with confidence. Specialized tires designed to grip the road in the harshest conditions. They give you better traction, handling, shorter braking distances, and the gift of safety for you and your loved ones. And right now, save up to $130 back on 4 Bridgestone Blizzak tires through December 16th. That's only at Burt Brothers with complete auto care. They can take care of it all. Make sure you're not off on the side of the road with a little help from your friends at Burt Brothers. And there's a location for Burt Brothers near you.
Tim and Amanda.
We get text messages almost every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're letting us know about an accident they see on the freeway or the weather, and we appreciate those. But sometimes they just say, hey, TGIF, how you doing?
Well, and there are those times we get a text where we've made a mistake and they'll correct us.
And I love that too.
Well, I do too. It means a lot to us to know somebody else is out there at 5 o'clock in the morning when we open up those microphones.
Wake up with Utah's morning news with Tim and Amanda, 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Earlier accidents have been cleared, like in Utah County, but we still have lingering delays. If you're traveling eastbound I-80, going through the Sugar House area, about 13th East, almost to Foothill, that is due to construction. And some unusual slowing right now northbound on I-15, approaching 5600 South in Roy for Weber County drivers. The perfect present doesn't always come wrapped under the tree. Treat your loved ones with an unforgettable afternoon or evening of music and laughter with the Utah Symphony. Find your tickets at utahsymphony.org/holiday. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny today and tomorrow with highs in the upper 40s. Then a storm moves into Utah Thursday afternoon. Friday, we could see snow down to the valley floors. Saturday and Sunday will be dry but cold with highs only in the 30s. Right now, sunny and 39 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Let's get back to our top local story.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
It was tough news this morning. It actually came down last night for likely more than 1,000 families in the Salt Lake City area. Their child's school is inching closer to being shut down.
The 4 elementary schools that we are recommending for closure are Hawthorne Elementary, Emlyn Benyon Elementary, Mary W. Jackson Elementary, and Riley Elementary.
So if you're a parent with a child at one of those elementary schools, do you feel like Mom Chelsea at last night's meeting? She heard her child's school is on the short list.
I am devastated. These friends and these bonds that they've started to form are foundational and really provide them confidence and security, and they have such great teachers and such a wonderful environment, and it's all getting broken up.
I recently had an editorial board meeting with the Deseret News, KSL, and Debbie, there was a very interesting thing that is happening right now in Utah, and I can tie it to schools and how schools are affected.
Oh, I'm interested.
And it is how difficult it is in the housing market. The housing market drastically affects the community schools in this way. Right now, we're just having a hard time moving period, right? Because say I've lived in my home for 20 years. I'm not going to sell my home with a 3% interest rate to go buy a new home at an 8% interest rate. But my kids are all through with elementary schools. It's the first house I've been in. It was my starter home.
You're not helping to populate your neighborhood school with a 5 or 6 year old child.
Exactly. And
7-year-old, okay.
typically what would happen is, you have your starter home, you move 2 or 3 times. Well, because the housing market exploded, because interest rates are so unfriendly right now, nobody's moving. And nobody's moving in the immediate future because they're sitting on really good home loans. So you're not going to be repopulating these neighborhoods and communities, and your kids are all grown. So we run into this problem where, okay, well, what do we do now? We don't have kids to fill these schools, and that has led to some school closures.
Aging communities.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say that would fit in this scenario, except for when I look at the population of these different schools that they chose to inch up closer to the top of the closure list. And by the way, there will be a public hearing about this on December 5th, right across the way here at West High School, starting at 6:30 at night. The final decision has not been made, will not be made until January in the Salt Lake City School District. But listen to these numbers, Dave. In Hawthorne Elementary, there's about 320. Is it 320 students? Did we update that? 320 students. I thought it was closer to 400. There's lots of different data sets out there. So they're at about 320 students at Hawthorne. Hawthorne is it's at 17 South and 7th East in Salt Lake City. Just went there a week and a half ago to talk to the kids about careers. But then you compare that to Benyon Elementary at 156 students. Hawthorne is on the closure list for potential closure. So is Benyon. So, when we spoke earlier today to Yanju Chatwin at the Salt Lake City School District, I was curious about that. Like, you would think if you had a child at Hawthorne Elementary, under your scenario, Dave, you're populating the school with 320 kids. There's kids, and they're, kindergartners through, whatever grade. And so you're not going to be on the closure list. But then you are on the closure list, and so is a school with under 200 students.
What it came down to is looking at the factors that we were required to check in policy and taking into account community input. As we looked at the data, folks who hop on our website and see that data table, there are like 40-something columns on there. There were a lot of factors. So what we honed in on were the outliers, the factors that could be used to differentiate between schools. And then as we compared those data points and took community input into account, these were the 4 schools that rose to the top.
The schools and the enrollment right now, the problem is the schools are built for 15,000 kids. Not just these elementary schools, all of the schools
in Salt Lake
are built for about 15,000 kids. Well, they only have a little over 9,000 enrolled, so they're working at 60% capacity. Well, that's just too big of a house, right? Just like we have to downsize, we have too much house for the empty nesters, we have to do the same thing with schools. When they drop below a certain enrollment, then the only other opportunity is either to close them or absorb other schools and other students.
How would you feel if you were the parent at that meeting last night and after months of listening, and wondering, and maybe you've gone to a couple of the public hearings because the district did have quite a few and weighed in, and your child's school was on that list?
For me, and I'm probably unique in this because I don't want to diminish, people have attachments to their community schools. It's just a building for me. It's just a building. If my kid goes to this school or that school, I don't have a huge attachment to a building. What I'm more concerned about is when my kid goes to school, do they have good teachers? Do they have enough resources? Are there enough support staff if they are in need and need help that they can do that? And when your enrollment drops and your teachers and the paraprofessionals and that drops as well, you're just not getting the service that is possible.
I don't think you're unique, Dad, in thinking that, because I posted this question earlier on my KSL News Radio Facebook page. I'd love for you to join the Facebook family there. It's Debbie Dujanovic KSL if you're looking for it. Kimberly says, the only thing I took away from listening to KSL Radio's coverage is that there are a lot of parents out there who are not raising resilient children. If mom or dad is having a breakdown about this change, that shows their children that having a breakdown during change is what adults do.
You know what? I agree with that. I think maybe your feelings, you and your significant other can kind of have some of those concerns, but if that bleeds out and you have anxiety over the change, then how does that not affect the children?
Kathy says as long as the state underfunds schools, this unpopular reality will continue. I'm not convinced that school closures come down to underfunding. I've covered education in Utah since 1990. I was the education reporter at Channel 4 for a number of years. Loved having the education beat. And it's an ebb and a flow. And I think, Dave, I do agree that there is a lot right now revolving around housing prices and unaffordable housing prices for families, and also unaffordable rental prices in the Salt Lake City area. And families with young kids don't often, I would think it's difficult for them to rent because they may be at the whim of the landlord. And so now they're up and moving. And so I think there's other factors involved in these closures that we're seeing play out now. It's kind of like the aging population is catching up to our elementary schools.
And let's use Benyon Elementary for an example. 156 students in that school. If you have a K through 6 school, 156 students divided up, that's 20 students per classroom. Now, you may be celebrating like finally, 20 kids, they're not overcrowded, but it's not divided up evenly.
Well, it's so expensive at that rate.
Yeah.
To educate so few students. Yeah.
How do you justify a classroom of 20 at Benyon, and then if you have another elementary school where you've got 30 kids or 35 kids, how is that fair?
Speaking of housing market, let's take an in-depth look at this. How about instead of a 30-year loan, which are becoming more and more unaffordable to pay those monthly payments on a 30-year loan, let's talk about this option, the 40-year loan.
Dave and Dujanovic.
2 new reasons to drop in on KSL on Friday mornings.
Starting in January, you'll hear Dave and Debbie Fridays at 9
And hear the movie show at lunch from 11 to 1.
on KSL News Radio.
Utah elects a new member of Congress this week. Hear the results and analysis right here of Utah's new delegation to Washington. We'll have the latest on Utah's morning news and analysis with David Dujanovic and Boyd Matheson. Plus updates, traffic, and weather in the afternoon. Decision 2023. This week on KSL News Radio.
Listen up, Black Friday shoppers. If you're anything like me, you appreciate a little extra jingle in your wallet during the holidays. Maybe buy a last-minute gift for someone you left off your shopping list, or even to buy yourself something you wanted but didn't get. That's why you should check out the Xfinity Mobile Black Friday sale now through December 5th. New customers can get a free line of unlimited intro mobile for 2 years with Xfinity Fast Internet. That's over $1,000 in savings. Plus, see how you can save even more with up to $800 off an eligible 5G phone. Now's your chance to get connected to the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. Join the millions who've switched to one of the fastest growing mobile services. This offer won't last. Go to Xfinity.com/Black Friday sale. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change after promo. Regular rates apply to service. Actual internet speeds vary. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced mobile speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage. Data thresholds may vary.
I'm Erin Mendenhall. I'm a mom, an air quality advocate, and the mayor of Salt Lake City. This is an exciting time for Salt Lake City, and we need to keep our city moving forward. Affordable housing is up, way up, and crime is down. I've worked hard to make our city safer. We're putting more officers on the street, reducing response times, improving training, and we've partnered with the feds to take violent repeat offenders off our streets. We're working on sustainable solutions to homelessness, and for the first time in a long time, we are not doing it alone. We're building unprecedented amounts of housing for our unsheltered neighbors. I've worked hard to earn real results for our city and to rebuild the burned bridges of our past. We've been tested in crisis after crisis, and we've shown our toughness and our grace. I'm determined to keep our city moving forward, and I won't let anyone take us back. Paid for by Erin Mendenhall for Salt Lake City.
When you crash your car,
you get it fixed. When your computer crashes, you get a new one. But what will you do if you've been saving in a 401k or an IRA and the market crashes? If you're in your 30s or 40s, you'll be just fine. But if you're in or near retirement, you could be in trouble. Mike Stevens and his team at Capital Wealth Advisors are here to help. They can run a risk analysis to see if you're too heavily invested in the market. Don't let the ups and downs of Wall Street control you or your retirement dreams. Call 801-210-5500 today to schedule your risk analysis with Mike Stevens and the team at Capital Wealth Advisors. That's 801-210-5500. Crashes happen. Question is, are you ready? Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Winter is coming, and Big O is here to keep you safe on the roads this winter. Winter tires are now available with financing options to fit any budget. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Attention smart homeowners. You don't have to fall for flashy promises and companies that don't even prove their work. At Your Service Pros uses third-party verification software called MeasureQuick to ensure your new HVAC system is installed correctly. This ultimate game changer in the HVAC industry lets you, the homeowner, have proof of how your system was installed. At Your Service Pros utilizes our Bluetooth tools to upload all of your system's information into MeasureQuick. We rely on data-driven insights to properly commission, optimize, and fine-tune your HVAC system for peak performance, improving your family's comfort, lowering your utility bills, and extending the life of your HVAC system. With rebates and tax credits available totaling more than $7,500 on a dual fuel heating and cooling system, it is now more important than ever that your HVAC system be installed correctly. So call us today at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO. Have the peace of mind of saving up to 50% on your new system and knowing it's installed correctly by calling 801-YOUR-PRO.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, it's too late to mail in your ballot for today's special election, but you can still drop it off or vote in person. Second, Elon Musk is going after Media Matters in court for its reporting on what it sees as going along with anti-Semitic tweets. Third, former Utah Governor Gary Herbert has endorsed a Republican challenger for Utah Attorney General, even though he appointed Sean Reyes, who currently holds that office. Right now, 41 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Let's tackle a topic that Dave actually has a lot of insight on because he sat in on an editorial board meeting yesterday with Envision Utah and heard that 76% of Utahns cannot afford a median-priced home.
Let that sink in. 3 out of 4 Utahns cannot afford just a regular median-priced home, which is about $500,000. And what Envision Utah did is they were hired to do a research. It took them about a year looking into Utah, comparing it to other places around the country, and try to find the solutions. Because right now, obviously, you're looking at 7% plus interest rates for mortgages. You've got a median home price of over $500,000. And their solutions are pretty simple. More housing. Well, of course, right? It's simple supply and demand. You build more homes, that's great. It'll drive down demand. But building homes, that doesn't happen tomorrow. It doesn't help you right now. It doesn't help you in 6 months. This is a long-term solution. So we're 28,000 houses short right now in Utah. Kem C. Gardner predicts we're going to be 37,000 short by the end of next year.
I'm just on the Redfin map for the Salt Lake City area. Of course, it lists home for sales on Redfin. Lots of sites you can use. I just picked this one. And I thought, I want to fly over to the Benyon Elementary School area where that's one of many schools, 4 schools that are on top of the potential closure list in the Salt Lake City area. There's Benyon, there's Jackson, there's Riley, and there's Hawthorne. And I thought, what is the price of a home in Benyon Elementary? Because you just brought up, a lot of the reason that these schools are having to close is because enrollment is dropping, because families can't afford a home in that area. And I found one. It looks like it's just down the street from Benyon Elementary. You want to know what it's listed for?
Yeah.
$700,000.
Okay.
What do you get for $700,000? Well, let me see if I can zoom in. I mean, I think this is pretty close. I mean, it's not right on top of it, but it's close enough, a few blocks away. It's 3,300 square feet. It's
Good size, that's big.
Three bedroom, 2 bath. But imagine a young family in their 20s wanting to live in that neighborhood and looking at a home, and there's not a lot of them up for sale at $700,000 at 7% interest.
Well, if 76% of Utah can't afford $500,000, and you're looking at a $700,000 home.
So what is another option? And let me bounce this off you. What about, this makes me sick. What about extending the life of a mortgage from 30 years to 40 years?
40-year loan.
I'm trying to think, when you're signing, I bought my first home in my mid-20s. It was a townhome. And I thought 30 years was forever.
Yes.
Now, it was like...
It is.
It's like 31 years ago. So,
yeah.
How would it feel to sign on the dotted line for something that's a contract for 40 years?
Well, number one, this is a real thing. This isn't just Dave and Deb playing hypotheticals. This is a loan that is available. Number one, wait till I tell you what was going on in Japan when housing prices went bananas. You'll think 40 years is an absolute bargain. But anyway, this 40-year loan, this is a real thing. Okay. Now, the way you look at it, and this is where you start breaking it down, a 40-year loan instead of a 30 is probably a pretty arbitrary number, right? I mean, why did we settle on 30 versus 25 versus 27? It's a big round number.
The wild thing when you bring that up, let me just interject here. I know a lot more now because it's been a long time and about quite a few properties and sold them. I didn't realize that you could go like, hey, I don't want 30 years. I want 25.
Yeah.
No one told me this. I mean, it's just I kind of learned it by accident. But you can do that.
Well, and there's a real financial advantage for the lenders.
Well, now it's advertised a lot more. Back in the day, when I was buying my first house, I didn't know anything, but now I know. I didn't know that, but that would just drive up the monthly payment.
Shortening if you went to a 15-year or something like that. Yeah. So expanding out to a 40-year loan, this is something that we've been very comfortable with. Let me just give you an example. We've done this already. We did it with cars. Back in 1986, the average car loan was 3 years. Mm-hmm. Did you know you had to put down 20%? Mm-hmm. That was kind of the standard back in 86. 3-year loan, 20% down.
Well, 3-year loan was a badge of honor. I mean, paying cash for your car is like, now it's a badge of honor. But back then, a 3-year loan was like, that's a badge of honor. I'm going to pay this thing off in 3 years. I mean, I must be doing okay.
Now we're looking at 7- and 8-year loans with 0 down. So extending out the loan, and the reason we're doing this is because it brings the monthly payment down.
Well, we're desperate.
Yes.
Our kids are desperate. I mean, the 7-year loan is an only option when you're looking at a car at $50,000. I mean, what's the average price of a car now? Isn't it like
50 grand? Yeah,
if you
48.
want a new one, if you want to use one, I usually buy used cars. I mean, I'm no stranger to buying them, but they do come with their own set of headaches. Like you don't know if it's been at the bottom of a lake, you know what I mean, in some other state and got towed here, and then you're the one that unlucky one who bought it. But 7-year loans, I mean, it must significantly reduce the payment.
Yeah, so let's look at what a 40-year mortgage is. There's several different kinds. There's a fixed, there's an ARM, there's kind of an interest only for the first 10 years. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of mortgages out there. But let me give you an idea. I went to mortgagecalculator.com, so that's the place where I did all of these calculations, and I started comparing. Okay, how much cheaper would it be and I used a $500,000 home, at 7% interest rate, and then I compared a 30-year to a 40-year. Okay. So here's what a 30-year fixed would be on a 30-year. So a 30-year fixed on a $500,000 home, that's about $3,300 per month. This is with no money down. Like straight up, this is just what it's going to cost. $3,300 a month on a 30-year loan.
That's a lot of money.
over the life of the loan, over those 30 years, you're going to end up paying $740,000 in
Total.
principal and interest total.
Okay. So you're going to be at about $250,000 for interest.
Just in interest.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, so let's look at that 40-year loan, that 40-year fixed. It drops your monthly payment from $3,300 per month to $2,700 per month.
Is that enough to make you
$600 a month?
Live with 10 more years of a mortgage? You want to be married to a mortgage company for 10 more years for $600? I mean, you might have to, but I'd probably like rent out the basement or something to make up that difference.
Well, you look at it and you say, okay, well, $600 a month, that might make the difference. Can I afford $2,700? Can I afford $3,300?
Well, mortgage companies would love it if you stayed with them for 40 years and you were a great customer because
Okay.
they'd make more money on you.
Well, if you're wondering if you do stay with them for 40 years, how much more are you going to pay? Well, you're going to be in the $820,000 range.
So an additional $80,000
Yeah.
over the 30-year that you're going to just pay in interest. So here's how I look at interest. You might as well be driving down the road and just throw the money out the window because it's not doing anything for you.
Isn't that what renting is, though?
Well, perhaps, but this is I'm talking about if you're buying a home. I would want to just pay it off sooner. I mean, renting is one thing. That's a different choice. But if you're buying a home on a 30-year mortgage compared to, and they dangle a 40-year mortgage for $600 a month less, yeah, it might be enticing because all you're worried about is that payment. But in the long run, how much $600 divided by or $80,000 extra dollars in interest divided by 600? I mean, I don't know what it works out to be, but it's like, why? How many years of your life are you going to commit to a mortgage company? But they would love it. Companies would love it.
This would be
if you signed on that 40-year mortgage.
Yeah, and this would be the argument, I guess maybe the pro for the 40-year mortgage. How many times do people stay with a 40-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage?
No, you're right.
And just
remove around
pay. No, we sell it off. We get it, so you're gaining some equity. If you're going to just buckle down and pay it off for the next 40 years, yeah, you'll pay a lot more. But this is what's happening. The cost of the home, the interest rates that are out there, a lot of people are just looking straight up at what the monthly payment is. Okay, now, I know we're out of time, but here it is. Japan, back in the 90s, was offering a multi-generational housing loan of 100 years. You would pass that mortgage on to your children, and they were responsible for it. 100-year, multi-generational housing loan.
It's wild. Wild to think about it for a whole century. Next, Governor Spencer Cox live on the line calling the show after the University of Utah scored a 2024 presidential debate. Oh, I wonder if it's going to be a little of this.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would you answer that
because
question?
the question is
spicy.
Radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your
All
list,
right,
Joe?
the Gov's next.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomis. KSL's top local story this hour. Sellers on the Jane.com website scrambling after the Utah business shut its doors last week. Brian Kuntz is a seller from Utah who is out a lot of money after the shutdown.
Our running balance that they owed us was a little over $50,000.
Jane.com owes money to small business owners around the country. The shutdown comes right when those businesses have stocked up on inventory for the holiday season. Former Utah Governor Gary Herbert publicly backing a challenger to the Attorney General that he appointed 11 years ago. Herbert says his backing of former Republican Party Chair Derek Brown is less about what current AG Sean Reyes has done and more about what he says Brown can bring to the position. Brown is a former part-time host of KSL at Night. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 4 people injured in a shooting at a Walmart store in Beaver Creek, Ohio yesterday. Kaylee Conley, who's a student at Wright State University nearby, tells ABC News she was there with a friend when they saw several victims being wheeled out.
They were in and out with somebody on the gurney, like within 5 minutes of them being there. And then they just keep coming and taking more people out.
The gunman died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average now down on the day 83 points. The NASDAQ is down 112 right now. And our KSL weather, fine day for traveling today and tomorrow, but then storm moves in, that's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, if you're like me and you like to dabble in DIY stuff, and you're also like me that you will not DIY electrical, this is why I'm telling you about Master Electrical.
I would never DIY electrical. I'll install my own tiling. I'll do those simple side jobs, but never touch electrical. This is a Master Electrical's job, and they have this upfront pricing guarantee. So the bid that they give you when they show up to look at the project that you want done is the price you pay when it's done.
Yeah, because they don't want any surprises on your invoice. You're not going to see that upcharge. Their system won't even allow it.
They do everything from the ceiling lights that Dave needs in his home. He needs more lighting. Ceiling fans, smoke detectors, generators, batteries, EV chargers installed as well.
Yeah, and they serve everyone from Logan to Santaquin. They do emergency services, so they're always open.
Love this emergency services option because emergencies are never convenient. You need them when you need them. So give them a call today. Master Electrical, 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
Or check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
This Thanksgiving at Total Wine & More, find Pinot Noirs and Cabernets that you adore. Our helpful guides are so friendly and nice. So many bottles to try at the lowest price. So gather with friends as you sit down to eat. Grateful for all who made Thanksgiving complete.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
This year, Staples will not be celebrating the holidays. Instead, we're celebrating the holiday deals with amazing savings for the holiday season. Save 60% on custom holiday cards, save 60% on custom invitations, and save 60% on custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. During Staples holiday deals, it's not about the ho-ho-ho, it's about saving do-do-do. Save 60% on custom cards, invitations, and photo gifts today at Staples. Ends 12/2. Visit staples.com/print for more details.
Exergen thermometers are proven to be more accurate than non-contact thermometers. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Clinical studies have proven that non-contact thermometers are inaccurate and can miss fevers. Accuracy matters. That's why the Exergen thermometer is trusted and used by medical professionals. Exergen thermometers are available at Walgreens and other participating retailers. Choose a trusted and accurate thermometer for personal use. Learn more about why accuracy matters at Exergen.com.
Intermountain Medical Center in Murray, LDS Hospital in Salt Lake City, and Utah Valley Hospital in Provo are ranked among the 2023 list for best cancer hospitals in the nation by Newsweek magazine, with a high level of comprehensive personalized care and treatment they provide. Intermountain Cancer Center locations provide an integrated, personalized approach to cancer treatment care, close to home for patients throughout the Intermountain West, as well as telehealth services. Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
We have emergency traffic now, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
I could never see what was causing these delays in Weber County on northbound I-15 approaching 5600 South in Roy. It could likely be road work. They've had a lot of construction going on in that area for quite some time. But this is just a heads up. If you're hitting the highways early to get a jump on holiday travel and you're headed north, we do have stop and go delays northbound on I-15 from just before 650 north in Clearfield all the way up to just past 5600 South Roy, and some of these speeds are stop and go delays, and construction still causing slowdowns also on I-80. This is eastbound as you're approaching 2300 East. From a recovery program to a place to lay your head at night with breakfast, lunch, and dinner served every day. Please help the rescue mission of Salt Lake. Visit rescuesaltlake.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, sunny today and tomorrow, highs in the upper 40s. Then a storm moves into Utah Thursday afternoon. Friday, we could see snow down to the valley floors. Right now, sunny, 41 degrees. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Watching the clock because in about 2.5, 3 minutes, Governor Spencer Cox live on the line with us. We appreciate Capitol Hill being on the Dave and Dujanovic show today. It's not just Governor Cox who's going to be joining the show in just a moment about this big deal. I mean, this is a huge deal. We are getting a presidential debate in the state of Utah at the University of Utah in October of 2024. So we're a little less than a year out. But we also were joined earlier today by Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson. She called the show in the 10 o'clock hour because today is
Election Day.
Yep, and she's busy, making sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and reminding listeners that you got to get your ballot to a ballot box by what time, Dave? 8 o'clock.
Is it 8? Yeah.
8 o'clock tonight. You can no longer vote by mail. That's over with. That deadline has closed. So you got to get it to a ballot box. She said vote by mail has just been a huge success story across Utah.
98.5% of the people statewide and in CD2 who voted by mail. Only 1.5% voted in person. Utahns love vote by mail, but we also love having people have that option. We're an all of the above approach when it comes to
which means we
voting.
can also vote in person today as well.
Yeah, I was shocked. I had no idea it was so popular. I knew, obviously, that vote by mail has been popular. It's very easy. We're very comfortable with it. It runs smoothly. But 98%. That really speaks to a sea change in how we vote.
The other big political story of the day is that the University of Utah will be hosting the 2024 final presidential debate. So it'll be the third and final debate. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning. It's great to be with you guys.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I was shocked. Utah's grown up.
Surprise.
I mean, at first it was the Olympics, and now it's a presidential debate.
Yeah, it really is a big deal, and it's something we've wanted to do for a long time. Obviously, we were finally able to get a vice presidential debate 4 years ago, but this is the big one, and it's the third one, which is, the biggest of all, the last opportunity for 2 or maybe 3 or 4 candidates, depending on how things go, to be on a stage together and to make their pitch to the American people, to be the leader of the free world and the most powerful nation on earth, and it's going to happen right here in Utah.
How did we sweet talk our way into this? Because I don't even know how the bidding system goes.
Well, there's lots of different things that go into it. The bidding system is very confidential, so we don't even know how many other cities apply. We do know lots of cities applied, but what we do know is that we have a history of proving over and over again that we can put on big events and very serious events. You mentioned the Olympics, obviously being one of those, and I will say I met with the IOC this morning and feel really confident that we're going to get another one of those. But we've proven time and time again, most recently with the NBA All-Star Game coming back to Salt Lake City again, that we're really good at this stuff, and people have confidence that we can do things in the right way.
Governor Spencer Cox live on the line. We're having him on the show because of this big announcement that the University of Utah will be hosting 2024 presidential debate in October of next year. But Governor, I mean, you just threw me a softball. I've got to take a swing at that question that I want to ask about the IOC. Are we going to get the games? Are we going to get the games?
Well, I threw that your way. You're the first person I've been able to talk to about this since I met with them this morning. And again, no decision was made today. This was basically our final pitch to the IOC committee. They're in Switzerland. We're here, so we're able to do it remotely, which works out well. What I can tell you is that it was very well received. There's an opportunity to ask questions afterward and talk about softball questions. In fact, the biggest complaint we got was that there were no hard questions to ask after our presentation. And so I'm as confident as I've ever been that we will get either the 2030 or 2034. We were pushing for 2034, but ultimately that's up to the commission. And in the next few weeks, we'll find out if we get to move to the next stage, what they call targeted dialogue. And that's a really good sign that if we get to that phase, that we're going to be hosting another game. So I really like our chances. I mean, I feel very confident that we will be getting games back.
When you're looking at the pitch, this latest pitch versus the one back in the early 2000s, how does it differ? How would it look different? What would we do differently this time around?
Yeah, so it's a very different pitch, and again, that's intentional. The way we framed it to the committee is, look, we've done this before, and when you do your first Olympics, you're just trying to make it work, right? You just the trains run on time, the people show up, that the events actually happen, and you're just kind of getting through it. We now know we can do that. You know, we don't have to build any infrastructure. It already exists, and that's such a compelling case to them. That then allows us to focus on the pitch I made was, look, the Olympics gave us so much in 2002. This is our chance to give back to the Olympics, to host a games. We don't know what the world's going to look like in 2034. It's not looking great right now. But I made a promise to them that in 2034, no matter how crazy and chaotic the world is, the Utah will be a place where people can seek refuge, where people can come together, where we can unify, and we can look to something bigger than just making the games happen, that we can really focus on what the games stand for and what they've stood for over time in trying to unify and bring people who are different, people with different backgrounds together to have a unique experience. Utah's a family state, and we're pitching something very different that's never happened before, and that is not just focusing on the athletes, but focusing on their families, taking care of their families, getting their families here, having a place for their families to stay, making this a family-centered Olympics, which just they loved that. And so I think Utah is very special, and I think the world's going to need our version of special come 2034.
I would agree with you, Governor, and just a reminder to everybody. I mean, Utah pulled off a very successful and very safe 2002 Winter Olympic Games in the very dark shadows of 9/11. It was just months later that we were hosting the games, 5 months later, and the committee and others had to scramble, law enforcement had to scramble to beef up security because of the fear of further attacks, and it worked. We pulled it off.
Yeah, and that's where the trust level comes from with the IOC. I'm so glad you brought that up, because many people have forgotten or didn't live here. It was 20 years ago. That how crazy 9/11 was. I mean, 9/11 happens, and there's a question of whether there will even be an Olympic Games.
Exactly.
And to see the way everybody just kind of sprang into action, the volunteerism, which we talk about all of the time, something they had never seen before, that level of volunteerism, people stepping up, the most financially successful Winter Games in the history of the Olympics, and to have it all come together under some of the most difficult circumstances we've ever seen in Olympics, that engenders a level of trust. And again, there's a direct line from that to getting this debate, to bringing it back full circle, that they know that no matter what happens, no matter how crazy it gets in our country, no matter who's on that stage, that Utah will respond. Whatever it takes to do, we'll do it, and we'll do it the right way.
Governor Cox, thanks for joining us. You took us on a wild journey on that. I did not expect that. I thought we were coming in to talk about the debate, and we took a little detour.
Yeah.
I couldn't be happier, but that was great.
We always have fun. Just a great reminder, everybody get out there. Don't mail your ballots in today. Go out and vote in person if you haven't mailed it in already. And let's keep democracy rolling.
I love it. And Governor, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, everybody there on Capitol Hill. Thank you so much. And thank you. We're grateful that you took time out of your day on the heels of the IOC meeting where things look really promising for Utah. It's either going to be 2030 or 2034. We're hoping for 2034 because it gets us a little further away from the games in Los Angeles for sponsorships and that kind of thing. But I think we'll take either.
If Governor Cox gets us the Olympics and a Major League Baseball team, we are carving his face in the side of a mountain.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Finally, Friday. Now you can hear Dave and Dujanovic 5 days a week.
Starting in January, Dave and Debbie will be on Fridays at 9.
Then the movie show from 11 to 1.
On KSL News Radio.
I am thrilled to report that now about 6 weeks in, I have lost just under 30 pounds. That's almost 5 pounds a week on soda weight loss. I'm wearing clothes that I couldn't fit into before. There was times when I would look in the mirror and think, you know what? I remember what I used to look. I mean, I was like 130 pounds when I graduated high school. Same height as I am now. So when I was double that weight, there was something just in the back of my mind that told me, I got to do something about it. And the great thing about soda is you have customized meal plans, which means I don't have to think about everything. My biggest job is, okay, which of these 4 things am I going to eat in which order? And that's so helpful for somebody who's on the schedule that I have. And I have a nutritionist who helps me all along the way. I check in with her every week. She gives me encouragement. I had to get through Halloween this week without eating any candy, and I didn't. But this is part of my soda weight loss journey. Go to sodaweightloss.com and see the 8,200 other people who are just like me and have found that soda is amazing. That's SOTA, stands for state of the art.
This joyful sound is the No More Chemo bell at Intermountain Health St. George Hospital. And it means that Sarah Parker beat cancer. It also means her doctor spotted it early enough to treat, and that her oncologist helped her fight it every step of the way. It means that her nurse helped her keep track of medicines, and that a case manager made the whole experience just a little bit easier. Every time we hear that bell, it reminds us that all things are possible when we work together. It reminds us of the power of we. Intermountain Health.
More Utahns are turning side hustles into cash, but watch out. Matt Gephardt warns you about one gotcha that could blow up your side hustle and your finances.
I don't think I need it.
Get Gephardt's Side Hustle Gotcha tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Feeling frustrated? Ignored? Deceived? It's time to get Gephardt. Get Gephardt. Weeknights at 10 on KSL.
Advanced Window Products is having their biggest sale of the year. If your old windows let the winter cold seep in, now's the time to get the highest quality double-pane windows and custom insulated frames. Advanced Window Products is a local company that crafts beautiful precision frames right here in Salt Lake City for 37 years. And the magic is, they cut out the middleman. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So you save on the highest quality windows and frames. Any style, any color, any questions? Yes, financing. They offer 60-month, 0% financing. They'll even let you put off the first payment up to 2 years, and while that's tempting to think about, the reason to call them right now is the biggest sale of the year. This month only, when they do your entire home of 10 windows or more, you get $3,500 off plus a free premium glass upgrade. So call Advanced Window Products right now, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. AMD Architecture, a woman-owned full-service design firm, prides themselves on truly understanding their clients' needs and finding creative solutions for even the most complex designs. Founder and principal, architect Angela Dean shares more.
I founded AMD Architecture in 1997 with the goal of providing quality architecture that is equally responsible to both clients and the greater environment. We find joy in approaching each project as a unique opportunity to explore creative, timeless, and sustainable solutions. With diverse projects spanning from the Wasatch Peaks to southern Utah deserts, we specialize in custom homes, historic preservation, commercial adaptive reuse, education, entertainment, and more. Our expertise in sustainable design ranges from off-grid straw bale homes to LEED Platinum certified medical clinics. In addition to our commitment to the environment through design, we prioritize our community and future workforce by providing scholarships and mentoring to students pursuing the field of architecture. We have contributed countless hours in pro bono design and volunteer efforts to organizations aimed at improving the well-being of our community. If you're looking for a design partner for your next build or remodel project, consider us for a healthy, functional, and creative design solution.
For the past 26 years, AMD Architecture has served Utah with a committed, talented, and creative staff determined to design sustainable and creative solutions. Learn more at the AMD Architecture website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, former Governor Gary Herbert appointed Sean Reyes as Utah's Attorney General 11 years ago. Now he's backing another Republican candidate. Second, the Jane.com website has been shut down, and people who sold items through the site are trying to recover the money they're owed. Third, 4 people were injured in a shooting at a Walmart store in Beaver Creek, Ohio last night. Right now, 41 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Okay, we're going to load you up over the next 8 minutes, walking you up to Maria and her afternoon news. Okay. First of all, we're going to talk to Nancy Vollmer at the airport. So if you're flying out over the next couple of days, stay tuned. Nancy's on the line with us, giving you the hot tips, what you need to know. Then it's Kevin Eubank, KSL meteorologist. He is going to join us to talk about weather, like if you're flying or you're driving. And then Dave's got his hot tips on what not to do when it comes to making a turkey.
Well, let's just jump right into it. FAA Administrator Mike Whitaker said at a news conference the current estimates are almost 50,000 flights taking to the skies on Wednesday. That's massive.
That's tomorrow. Nancy, yeah, right? Dave's like, what? It's a short week. It's tomorrow. Nancy Vollmer with the Salt Lake City Airport. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi there. Yeah, the travelers are definitely packing their bags and heading out to the airport.
So what do we need to know when we get out there?
Well, today and tomorrow are two of the busiest days here at the airport. We're expecting about 30,000 passengers just to come through the front door. We'll see just as many passengers arriving as well. And so it will be a little bit busier than usual. So we always recommend that passengers allow plenty of time, know what they're packing in their carry-on luggage, and if possible, make parking reservations in advance.
Okay, now what is recommended time versus what time we should actually be there early? Now, are you saying you're saying be there 2 hours early? Are you saying being even more than 2 hours early?
No, I think 2 hours prior to domestic flights. If you're flying international, we always recommend 3 hours early. So, and if you do get here a little early, you have some extra time. We have some great shops and restaurants that you can enjoy, and some new ones, too, now that we've opened up Concourse A East.
Okay, busiest time of the day. Is there a busy time of the day?
Yeah, so the 2 peak times are 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The morning 10 a.m. time is a little bit busier than the afternoon time, but those are usually the busiest times here at the airport.
Nancy Vollmer, best of luck. Thanks for joining us from the Salt Lake City International Airport.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, Nancy. Let's bring on Kevin Eubank, KSL meteorologist. Hello, my friend.
Hello, you two. How are we today?
We're so good, but we're glad to have you because I am a little bit worried about the weather over the weekend if people are driving.
Well, this is the deal. We're dealing right now, air travel, as we just heard, there's a storm back east that's causing some delays. So make sure you check if you're flying. Right now, the west is very quiet, and today, tomorrow are the ideal days to travel. But come Wednesday night, a storm system drops in from the northwest. It will be on our doorstep for Thanksgiving Day. So if you're trying to get out of Utah after Thanksgiving, you're going to run into a problem. A snowstorm's coming in Thursday night into Friday morning. It's going to bring snow to pretty much the entire state, valleys included, a couple of inches possible come Friday during the day here in northern Utah. Mountains will see 1 foot to 1.5 feet of snow. So if you're trying to get home the day after Thanksgiving, anywhere out of Utah or trying to get back to Utah, you're going to find some delays. The good news, by Saturday, Sunday, things improve, and the weekend is actually looking very, very calm to try to come back. So if you're coming back over the weekend, I don't think you have problems. But if you're trying to do that during Thanksgiving Day or the day after, you're going to run into some weather.
Kevin, with that forecast, I can't even calculate how many Turkey Bowl injuries I just counted.
Well, they do that on their own. Forget the weather, but you're right. Those warriors that are out there trying to make their stands. Now, the good news is, Dave, is most of those games happen Thanksgiving Day, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's no problem because it doesn't come in until after dark. Thanksgiving Day.
Okay.
So your injuries will be completely non-weather related.
I can't blame you.
I don't appreciate how you've decided to bring this storm in, on Black Friday when I was planning on going Black Friday shopping, Kev. I guess
Debbie, first off, Black Friday's been going on for 3 weeks. We've heard it from every single retailer. It's online. It's everywhere. If you're trying to get somewhere Friday morning to get a deal, you've missed 3 weeks of deals. How's that?
Okay, I'll wait till Saturday. Fine. Hey, stay on the line, Kevin Eubank, KSO meteorologist. Let's have some fun with Dave Noriega. He's been waiting all show long to share his turkey tips.
I've got a lot of turkey tips. Kevin, I'll just include you in this whole conversation. Number one, is your frozen turkey, is it still in the freezer or is it in the fridge? Because today is the last day to put it in the fridge. Otherwise, it's too late.
It's definitely in the fridge. Of course it's in the fridge.
It couldn't thaw out in time.
That's an amateur move right there.
Total amateur move.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it really?
No, yeah. It's an amateur move, but just so you know, you need about 24 hours for every 5 pounds of turkey. So if you've got a 20-pound turkey, it's still sitting frozen in your you're gonna have some troubles.
Okay.
Now the U.S. Department of Agriculture does say it's also safe to thaw a turkey in a sink full of consistently cold water or a microwave. There's a little nugget of information. Have you ever deep fried a turkey, Kevin?
Oh my goodness, no. That's a disaster waiting to happen.
Okay, you've watched too many news stories over the years as we
every Thanksgiving we cover one of those stories.
This is how you burn your house down. Just so you know, if you are going to do it, don't use olive oil, don't use vegetable oil. You want to use peanut oil because the smoke point is much higher. It's 440 degrees before that smoke point hits. So peanut oil, way to go.
So that means anybody with peanut allergy can't eat the turkey.
That's actually a win-win for me. More turkey for me. Thanksgiving dinner, 4.5% cheaper this year.
Oh.
They say that it drops down to $61. Would you say you spend more or less than $61 on
I've
your
just been assigned
dinner?
to bring the rolls.
Oh, so you're coming
Kevin,
in
can you
easy.
believe that? I am like the master chef of the family, and every year I've been assigned to just bring the rolls. And you know what I do?
Well, let me tell you, once you
Rhodes.
find someone who knows how to make the good rolls, you go with them. Don't mess with that. That's
what
the golden standard.
That's why I've gotten into a relationship with Rhodes. Rhodes rolls.
My assignment is not to come, Dave. My family asks every year.
I would be
what do I
so
need to
thankful
bring?
if
And
you
they're
didn't
like,
show up.
Don't come. Just don't come.
Is that your dad? Is that your dad, Kevin, saying, you know what? No, your dad loves you. He wants you there. Yeah.
Kevin Eubank, best of
See
luck.
you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for
All
joining
right.
us.
Thanks, Kev. Wow, what a show. Lieutenant Governor, the Governor, Kevin Eubank, Nancy Vollmer. I mean, Dave, me. Okay, we're back tomorrow.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story this hour.
Your voice, your vote 2023. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Election Day has finally arrived, and KSL News Radio is monitoring Utah's special congressional election, plus local races from Ogden to Lehigh to Bountiful. It's also decision time for Salt Lake City, which could see a return of a mayor who led the city way back in 2002. We'll have to wait until the polls close today to find out who the frontrunner is in that contest, but we do know who's got more money in the bank. Our team coverage, Your Voice, Your Vote 2023 begins with KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce.
Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall is hoping to fend off a challenge from former Mayor Rocky Anderson. And as of mid-November, she's outraised him by a lot, with nearly $850,000 raised to his $422,000. She's also spent a lot more money than Anderson and has a lot more cash on hand for the final push, with about $135,000 in the bank compared to his $25,000 headed into this last week. Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio.
Meantime, Governor Spencer Cox is hoping for anyone besides the current presidential frontrunners to be on the debate stage next October. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has more.
It's looking more and more likely that the 2024 election will rerun candidates Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
I'm not going to answer the question
Why would you answer that
because
question?
the question is the question is
radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Governor Cox says that's his least desired scenario, but he says it's probably going to be polarizing no matter who takes the stage. One wrinkle is that the Republican nominee might not even show up, since the Republican National Committee split with the Commission on Presidential Debates last year. Cox says the hope is still for both candidates to appear and hash out their ideas, whoever they are, but acknowledges that he's rooting for anyone but the current leaders in the polls to make their case in Utah next year. Peter Johnston, KSL News Radio.
Another new lawsuit has been filed naming the founder of an anti-trafficking organization and the nonprofit itself. Like the previous lawsuits, the one names Operation Underground Railroad and its founder, Tim Ballard. For the first time, it also makes direct accusations against one of Ballard's close associates of taking part in the so-called couple's ruse. Ballard has previously denied that the couple's ruse tactic went too far. So far, 8 people have made legal claims against OUR and Tim Ballard. KSL's top national stories. A new court ruling could severely limit legal challenges under the Voting Rights Act. A federal appeals court threw out a lawsuit brought by the chapter of the Arkansas NAACP challenging a redistricting plan the chapter says would dilute black voting power in the state.
Judge David Strauss said that, in fact, the text of the Voting Rights Act only names one person explicitly who can enforce it. That's the Attorney General. He said the fact that the law doesn't name anyone else means no one else can bring a challenge to a voting law in a given state under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, and therefore he tossed out this challenge by the Arkansas NAACP.
That is ABC News senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer. Utah poll workers have a unique challenge this year, trying to count all the ballots in time to spend Thanksgiving with their families. Our team coverage continues with KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Workers have been putting in long hours processing ballots with hopes they can be home in time for turkey.
It's about a 7 till 6:30 or 7 to 7 right now.
And Salt Lake County Clerk Lonnie Chapman says today is going to look more like 7 a.m. to midnight. Now, whether they have to work on Thanksgiving really depends on how many ballots come in. Chapman says if they get 100,000 last-minute mail-in ballots like last year, they'll definitely be working on Thursday. However, last year's voter turnout in Salt Lake County was substantially higher than what they're expecting this year. Either way, Chapman says poll workers are ready no matter what happens and are willing to make the sacrifice if they have to.
They said, you know what, this is so important. It is so critical to make sure people's voices are counted and heard in their community, that they've just continued to step up. I am in awe.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
The head of the Transportation Security Administration says they are staffed up to make holiday travel as smooth as possible today.
Congress approved, the president requested a pay adjustment for everybody in TSA to finally, in 22 years, put us on the same pay scale as every other federal employee. So what that's done is it's reduced our attrition by about 50%. We have many more applicants for jobs.
TSA Administrator David Pekoski told Good Morning America travelers should still give themselves as much as 3 hours to get through security to accommodate all the extra foot traffic. Black Friday is upon us. It's a big day for businesses, big and small. KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington has more.
Corey Anderson owns Bricks and Minifigs, a Lego shop based in South Jordan and Salt Lake City. They're open on Black Friday and are offering specific Black Friday deals. Ultimately, staying open for Black Friday is always an easy decision for him to make.
It's never really been a question. We've just always been open. We specialize in Lego, and a lot of Lego fans want to get their Christmas gifts on Black Friday.
He says Black Friday always has the highest sales of the year, and it's a great way for his business to kick off a busy holiday shopping season. Emma Keddington, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
We do have an accident. This is in Murray, westbound I-215 South Belt near State Street, out of traffic on the right. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Listen to KSL for news to get exactly what you want.
It's a good place to get accurate news.
They do the in-depth, reliable, balanced, thought-provoking.
Hear the important stories, the stories that affect you.
On KSL News Radio. Here's something you've never heard before.
Stop.
This is Simply Safe.
Introducing 24/7 Lifeguard Protection, only from Simply Safe Home Security. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Nothing slows my little girl down, except the stuffy nose.
Mommy.
That's why I use Sinex Children's Saline from Vicks. Sinex instantly clears mucus in everyday stuffy little noses with a gentle, ultra-fine mist designed for kids. Just Sinex? Breathe. Her stuffy nose is gone for now. And so is she.
Sinex Children's Saline. Sinex, breathe. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, Derek Overstreet here from the New Millennium Group, financial advisors in Utah. You know, I've been helping people retire in the state of Utah for the last 20 years. The way we do that is we actually find out what is important to you. We create a step-by-step plan that takes into consideration your income, your debt, whether you want money from real estate, stock market, annuities, life insurance, whatever. If you want to deal with professionals, people that are fiduciaries and have a legal responsibility and obligation to do what's in your best interest, give my team a call at 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Or go to my website, utahsfinancialplanner.com. If you'd like to retire 3 to 5 years before you thought it was possible, give my team a call right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370.
Advanced Window Products. Factory direct affordable windows. Call today and they're on their way. Financing available. Save now, pay later. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindowsusa.com.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top local story. We have our eyes glued to the local races, including the special congressional election and mayor's races in Salt Lake City and Ogden. KSL News Time 12:08. A woman in New York City lost her battle with cancer, but not before raising millions of dollars for others. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit reports.
Back in May, Casey McIntyre and her husband discovered her battle with ovarian cancer would take her life in a few weeks. But instead, they got 6 more months together. In the days leading up to Casey's death, she urged her friends to donate to RIP Medical Debt, a nonprofit that helps cover medical costs for impoverished patients. Combined with McIntyre's efforts, their donations will be converted to around $54 million of paid-off debt, according to USA Today. McIntyre passed away last Sunday. She was 38 and leaves behind her husband and their 18-month-old daughter. Michael Commit, KSL News Radio.
Some local band directors will be participating in a national Thanksgiving tradition. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will include 13 band directors from Utah. They're all members of the Band Directors Marching Band that will be featured in the parade. The marching group first performed at the 2022 Rose Bowl Parade. Organizers of the Macy's Parade were so impressed, they asked them to do one of the most popular parades in the U.S. That's the band practicing for their big day. It will air Thursday morning and feature 16 balloons, 26 floats, 32 inflatables, 12 marching bands, and 8 performances. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
The Salt Lake City, Utah Committee for the Games will take part in an important meeting today to present key elements of its bid to the IOC's future host commission. Governor Spencer Cox, Salt Lake Mayor Aaron Mendenhall, and bid president and CEO Fraser Bullock and others will help with that presentation. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Ricky, what's going on?
I finally found the accident that I heard come across the scanners. This is in Summit County. It's on I-80, and if you are traveling westbound, this is taking up all but a far right shoulder. We have a lot of emergency crews that have arrived. This is prior to Kimball Junction. So again, if you're coming from, I'm going to say Highway 40 towards Kimball Junction, it's about halfway there. You've got to scoot all the way over to the far right shoulder, and that's in addition to the ramp that's trying to merge on in that area as well. It does look like a crash with injuries, and it is blocking a right lane and the left lanes of travel. So everybody is trying to funnel through and get by. So bring your patience if you're trying to get into Parley's Canyon or into the valley via westbound I-80. Now in the valley, we have delays on I-80 as well. This is on the eastbound side due to road work from 13th East over to 2300 East. Then we have the cleanup of a small accident in Murray, westbound I-215 South Belt near State Street, out of traffic on the right. Join the Utah Symphony for the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. Tickets start at just $21. Get yours today at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A Pacific high pressure system has nudged into California. That'll affect our weather in a good way. We're looking at mostly sunny skies today with a high of 46, a little bit of haze starting to pile at the valley floor. 30 overnight, goes to 49 tomorrow, dry skies, partly cloudy. Working into Thanksgiving, looks like a storm moves in late Thanksgiving night. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 43 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and still to come on Utah's Noon News. Salt Lake City is setting some ground rules for the development of one of its last agricultural areas. We will speak with the City Councilwoman Victoria Petro, who was one of the main figures behind the change. That's on KSL, streaming at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and all you have to do is look up to the mountaintops and realize the time of year winter is around the corner. This is the time to start thinking about those holiday gatherings, maybe that reward for your employees, gifts for friends and neighbors, and Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. A gift card at Ruth's Chris really does the trick. Trust me, I have been a recipient. Plus, having that holiday gathering at Ruth's Chris. 2 locations, of course. Hotel Park City. Maybe you'll want to do that after a great day of skiing, or downtown Salt Lake City, maybe after the game or the concert. What a great experience during the holiday season, which now is just around the corner. It awaits you at Ruth's Chris, and you're going to find the best food ever. The steaks are cooked perfectly. The side dishes are beyond compare. And the desserts, oh my goodness. And of course, they have all the other entrees too. It's waiting for you now at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
More Utahns are turning side hustles into cash. But watch out. Matt Gephardt warns you about one gotcha that could blow up your side hustle and your finances.
I don't think I need it.
Get Gephardt's Side Hustle Gotcha tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Feeling frustrated? Ignored? Deceived? It's time to get Gephardt. Get Gephardt. Weeknights at 10 on KSL.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
incumbent Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall is winning the money race, out fundraising former Mayor Rocky Anderson by about double headed into this election day. I'm KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce.
Second, another new lawsuit has been filed naming the founder of an anti-trafficking organization and the nonprofit itself. Like the previous lawsuits, this one names Operation Underground Railroad and its founder, Tim Ballard. But for the first time, it also makes direct accusations against one of Ballard's close associates of taking part in the so-called couples ruse. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
We do have a crash in Summit County blocking traffic westbound I-80 prior to Kimball Junction. Try to use some caution getting through this stretch. Expect some backups. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Quiet weather today as high pressure dominates. Look for mostly sunny skies and a high of 46. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 43 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A deal to free more hostages held by Hamas inching closer to being finalized. President Biden expressing cautious optimism over talks between the U.S., Israel, and Qatar, acting as a go-between with Hamas. ABC's Matt Gutman is in Tel Aviv, where families who have been waiting for more than 6 weeks about the fate of their loved ones are protesting and demanding the government act.
It seems much closer. The entire cabinet of the Israeli government is meeting right now in order to approve that hostage deal. The political pressure has worked. Israel's main conception of this war seems to have shifted from destroying Hamas being the first and last priority to releasing the hostages being the top priority, at least right now.
President Biden today meeting with his advisors on ways to stem the flow of fentanyl at the U.S. border. It follows the president's talks with leaders of China and Mexico during the APEC summit last week, where leaders pledged to curb the chemicals in China needed to make the deadly opioid from reaching Mexico and the U.S. border. The race is on to get to your Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving destination. Travel has been ramping up the past few days, and millions are hitting the roads and flying in record numbers. ABC's Trevor Ault is at New York's LaGuardia and says storms, though, could put the brakes on some plans.
On Monday, well over 90% of flights took off on time, far better than the average day, but still more than 3,000 flights were delayed. The FAA anticipates today and tomorrow will be the busiest of the holiday stretch. 50,000 flights are scheduled Wednesday alone, and it is a guarantee at least some of them will be delayed or canceled, so experts stress you should have a plan.
In the latest crackdown of cryptocurrency companies, federal prosecutors and unsealed court documents say the founder and CEO of cryptocurrency exchange Binance pled guilty today to violating U.S. anti-money laundering laws. Other executives from the company could also be implicated. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Salt Lake City is looking at making one of its last agricultural frontiers a little industrialized to prevent it from becoming very industrial. Joining me live with more is Salt Lake City Councilman Victoria Petro. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go ahead and describe, first of all, the area we're talking about. What is this area? Where is North Point?
It is the area north of the airport. It is west of the river and east of the lake and everything north of the airport.
Okay, so what is the importance of setting up some rules for this area?
So we already have an example of what happens when you don't. About 20 years ago, zoning was put in place for Business Park, which now allows for things like 1 million square foot warehouses by right. And so we already have that happening up in the area. And because it was allowed by right, the Council Planning Commission never had any say. There were no developer agreements. And our constituents who are living up there, who are holding on to the last remnants of agricultural living, are living in a literal hellscape of water pollution, light pollution, sound pollution. Their roads are rendered unusable. We cannot environmentally or in the name of our constituents, allow unchecked development to happen in the area.
So what are your hope for these rules? What do you hope that these residents and businesses in the area will be able to see to be successful?
Everything I do in my capacity as councilperson is to protect Salt Lakers. So my biggest aim is to make sure the constituents up there don't find themselves on the brink of breaking because of the circumstances they're living under. Outside of that, of course, we have got to protect that environment up there. It is the shore of the Great Salt Lake. It is our Jordan River, which is an important riparian way for us. And so I am hoping that whatever development has come in, the seal has been broken thanks to the million square foot warehouse that's going in up there. Whatever development follows this has got to be responsible development that is responsive both to our constituents and to our environmental concerns up there.
Boy, this seems like such a tough one where you've got agricultural residents and businesses, and then you're still trying to protect the wetlands as well. I mean, that's got to be challenging.
I have joked that this is the most difficult 150 acres in the entire city, but I represent District 1 in the west side, and things are never really easy when you're from the west side, but they are always worth it, and we are always up to the task.
All right, appreciate your help. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Salt Lake City Councilman Victoria Petro. KSL News Time, it's past 12:19. Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Thanks for your patience, Ricky. What's happening on the roads?
We have a tow truck on the scene of this accident in Murray, westbound on the South Belt near State Street. They are blocking a right lane of traffic, but you're able to get around it just fine, and it's coming off of the ramp where you will see delays. That is eastbound I-80 between about 1300 and 2300 east due to road work. The rest of your Valley freeways are actually seeing a good drive. But in Summit County, we have this crash westbound I-80 prior to Kimball Junction. It is blocking a left and a right lane of travel. You're now able to get through in a right lane, but it's still causing some slowdowns in the area. Live at the Eccles presents Gentry, the Gentleman Trio, on November 24th and 25th, 2023 at the Eccles Theater on Main Street in downtown Salt Lake City. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Quiet. 46 today, mostly sunny. Tomorrow, little added cloud cover. We'll go partly cloudy skies, 49 the high. Thanksgiving, first half of the day is dry. Temperatures will top out at 46 in the afternoon, but rain, snow, showers starting to move in the evening. 37 for your Friday, but light snow expected. 35 cold, partly cloudy for your Saturday. Dry, mostly sunny, 37 on Sunday. Monday, 39 with blue skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
It is a beautiful day, sunny, 43 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Markets taking back some of yesterday's gains. Apparently not too happy with the release of the Fed minutes. We'll check your money news coming up next.
If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Even though that's an old adage, it's still very true today. And it's especially true of your old 401k. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, asking you to get that old 401k in sight and out of the company you no longer work for. But don't roll it into your new 401k. That could be one of the worst things you do. Of course that's easy. But when has the easiest way ever been the best way? Instead, call Trajan Wealth and learn about all of your options, including a way to earn an upfront bonus of up to 25% for your future income just for rolling it over. That's right. You could earn up to a 25% bonus for your retirement income just for rolling that 401k over with Trajan Wealth. Don't roll that 401k into your new company plan. Don't do it without calling Trajan Wealth first. Call 801-899-7600 or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
Advertising used to be simple. Your options were radio, TV, newspaper, and let's not forget the yellow pages. Now it seems like a tidal wave of options. Podcast, cable TV, streaming, OTT, CTV, audio networks, smart speakers.
On top of that, you need digital marketing for your website along with SEM, SEO, display, video, YouTube, email, and all the social media platforms.
Look, you're the expert in your business. Wouldn't it be nice to have an expert to market you? We are Bonneville Salt Lake, the local marketing and media company you know and trust. We reach customers across all digital and social platforms and have the reach of traditional advertising available as well. We find your customer anytime, any place, anywhere on any device here in Utah or anywhere in the world. We work to optimize your results with our in-house local team of experts, providing you with qualified leads, not just impressions. Contact Todd Larson at KSL for a free consultation, including a complete digital audit with no obligation or cost to you. Email tlarson@ksl.com. That's tlarson@ksl.com.
Hi, this is Congressman John Curtis. I know it can be stressful waiting for an answer from a government agency. If you live in Utah's 3rd Congressional District and you need help with a passport, the VA, IRS, Social Security, or any other federal agency, come to my outreach open house. Join us at Holiday City Hall on Tuesday, November 21st, anytime from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. I'll kick the event off at 4:30 with a brief update on Congress, and then my team will be available to meet with you. Come meet my amazing caseworkers and staff. Get help with the government agency. Sign up for a one-on-one with me. Learn about internship opportunities, grant applications, congressional accommodations, and so much more. Come see why my team was recently ranked #1 in Congress. Oh yes, and refreshments will be served. Hope to see you there.
Paid for by the MRA of Congressman John Curtis.
Watching Utah's money, Amazon employees have filed a lawsuit against the company for sexist pay practices. Seattle Times says 3 women claim Amazon stripped them of their leadership roles after raising concerns to the Human Resources Department. Amazon says these claims are false. KSL Drives, Ford is scaling back its plans for a battery plant in Michigan by over $1 billion. Automaker says demand for EVs has not met its expectations. It's downsized the project, planning to produce fewer batteries, employ fewer people, and spend less on production than before. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 78 points, about 0.25%, sitting at 35,072. S&P, it's down by 9. NASDAQ, it's down by 88 points.
This week,
I'm a conservative.
I like the independents.
The person that we like is on the ballot.
Your voice, your vote, 2023.
We voted. I wasn't going to miss it.
It takes almost no time at all.
Get coverage all day today and all the results and reactions tomorrow. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Advanced Window Products is having their biggest sale of the year. If your old windows let the winter cold seep in, now's the time to get the highest quality double-pane windows and custom insulated frames. Advanced Window Products is a local company that crafts beautiful precision frames right here in Salt Lake City for 37 years. And the magic is, they cut out the middleman. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So you save on the highest quality windows and frames. Any style, any color, any questions? Yes, financing. They offer 60-month, 0% financing. They'll even let you put off the first payment up to 2 years, and while that's tempting to think about, the reason to call them right now is the biggest sale of the year. This month only, when they do your entire home of 10 windows or more, you get $3,500 off plus a free premium glass upgrade. So call Advanced Window Products right now, 801-850-9100, 801-850-9100, or advancedwindowsusa.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Let's check the slow spots with Ricky Meese.
We have a KSL traffic trooper reporting a new accident in Tooele. This is 10th North, 1000 North on Main Street. That's SR 36. If you're traveling in Summit County, we still have lanes blocked due to an accident westbound I-80 prior to Kimball Junction. Right now, they are holding back all traffic. As soon as they can let traffic go through again, you'll still need to stay to the right, but you do have delays back to the Highway 40 junction. And in the valley, we have slowdowns eastbound I-80 from 13th East over to 2300 East due to construction. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking at a high of 46 today with mostly sunny skies and haze starting to build. Overnight lows in the low 30s, mostly clear. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, 49 the high. Thanksgiving, 46 with rain, snow late. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 43 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12:30. KSL's top story this half hour. 4 schools are getting shuttered next year in the Salt Lake School District, but it goes beyond just a drop in student population. KSL News Radio's Amy Kobabe has that story live from the KSL 24-hour newsroom. Amy?
Maria, 2 schools on the east side will close. It's Hawthorne and Benyon, and then 2 on the west, Mary W. Jackson and Riley. District spokesperson Yandri Chatwin says walkability to other schools was a big consideration.
If families are saying we want to be able to still walk to school, well, in closing Mary W. Jackson, we can still provide most of those kids with walkable options. We bus students now, and we will still need to bus some students if the board were to accept the recommendations from the district.
Chatwin says they are also considering the needs of special education students and even the age of the buildings themselves and how long those buildings will continue into the future. Reporting live, Amy Kobabe, KSL News Radio.
Closing schools, relocating the staff, students, and furniture is a massive undertaking. Granite School District did it last year, and spokesman Ben Horsley says it was worth it in the long run.
We find that our teachers and our parents are a lot more satisfied after the fact when they realize they're in a much better situation when there's more teachers to pull from.
Horsley says nobody likes change, but
these changes are much more difficult on our parents than they are on our kids.
Horsley also says the Salt Lake School District is working to give parents an option on where they can send their kids. Salt Lake City is one major step closer to hosting another Winter Olympics. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera has more.
The Salt Lake City Olympic Committee met virtually with the International Olympic Committee to prove Utah has everything in place to win the bid. Fraser Bullock, president and CEO of Salt Lake City's Committee for the Games, said they loved every minute of their meeting.
We had the opportunity to express our confidence in hosting the games, our passion for doing good in the world, and we think those were received very, very well.
Bullock said next week the IOC will present their findings to the executive board and vote on who will be considered to host 2030 or 2034.
Being invited into targeted dialogue by the IOC is the key step.
The final decision could be decided anytime after that meeting, but is expected before the 2024 Paris Olympics. Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. Federal authorities warn the war in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas has created a heightened threat environment here at home. Online hate speech and threats have skyrocketed since the October 7th terror attack in Israel. And New York Governor Kathy Hochul blames social media companies for not doing more.
So much of this hate originates on social media platforms like TikTok, who refuse to take action necessary to protect our children and young people.
New York is going to start sending money to college campuses to help them with online threat assessment and management. Black Friday is still a major shopping event for many Americans, even with so many people starting their shopping early and stores offering earlier than ever deals.
Black Friday still is definitely a thing, but it's not just on the day of Black Friday anymore. So you kind of have to think of Black Friday as a season or as the entirety of Thanksgiving week.
That is Kristen McGrath from Retail Me Not. She says it pays to keep an eye out on all the bargains all season long. The holiday travel rush is on, and the TSA is bracing for record-breaking numbers.
It's crunch time at the nation's airports. They're packed, but Glenn Story at Boston's Logan Airport found the lines manageable.
Actually, they're not as bad as I thought they were going to be.
Sherlyn Hyde, taking off from Chicago O'Hare, says traveling 2 days before Thanksgiving with small children gave her anxiety. So her plan?
You organized, bring iPads, snacks, and a good attitude.
The TSA says 30 million travelers are expected at the nation's airports throughout this Thanksgiving week, 3 million alone on the Sunday after the holiday. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
First look traffic, here's Ricky Meese.
Delays continue. This is in Summit County, westbound I-80 due to an accident prior to Kimball Junction. Again, they are still holding back all traffic for now with the delays now passing the Highway 40 junction. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Your friends come here for news and impactful, thought-provoking talk.
Boyd Matheson, the afternoon. I feel like he does a really good job of hitting things from both sides.
Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson from 1 to 3.
In your car at 102.7 FM.
Do you currently use a CPAP machine to treat sleep apnea? Are you looking for a smaller, more comfortable solution? Consider a custom-fitted oral appliance from Sound Sleep Medical. In many cases, these appliances can be as effective as CPAP, and oral appliances are usually covered by insurance or Medicare. To make an appointment or to learn more, call Sound Sleep Medical at 801-285-9731. That's 801-285-9731, or visit soundsleepmedical.com.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody deserves to shine. That's why we create fine jewelry that's unique, personal, and crafted with care. Every engagement ring center stone is hand-set by our expert jewelers. Every diamond meets our superior standards for sparkle and beauty. Every gemstone is chosen for its spectacular color, and our free lifetime warranty is the best in the industry. 'Tis the season to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Can we talk about something difficult to discuss? Are you going through a difficult financial time? You have equity in your home, but nobody can help. I'm Jason Erskine with American Home Loans, and we have created the Bridge Loan Program to use your equity regardless of your credit at this time. The Bridge Loan can be used to pay debts, collections, IRS liens, divorce settlement, or just simply improve your property. Give us a call at 801-262-2221. This loan creates a bridge between now and a much brighter future. During COVID, one of our clients had over $85,000 on credit cards. Their scores were too low to borrow on their home. We were able to save them $2,000 a month, and after 8 months, they qualified for a conventional loan and improved their situation. Look, the consultation is free. Please let us see what we can do for you. Call 801-262-2221. That's 801-262-2221, or go to AmericanHomeLoans.com. That's AmericanHomeLoans.com.
NMLS 245422, Equal Housing Lender.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top local stories. Salt Lake City is a giant leap closer to hosting the Olympics again after an important meeting today with the International Olympic Committee. KSL News Time, 1237. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has announced important dates for the reopening of 2 southern Utah temples. KSL News Radio's Emma Keddington has details.
First, we now know when the St. George Temple will be rededicated. The church says St. George native President Jeffrey R. Holland, the new acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, will do the honors on December 10th. The church also announced the Manti Temple's open house will run from March to April of next year. It will then be rededicated April 21st.
The church also announced official location sites, 1 temple in Mexico and 1 in Brazil. You can find those on our website at kslnewsradio.com. If your Thanksgiving travel plans require you to go through the Phoenix airport, you might want to pack a snack. Concession workers at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport are on a strike over claims filed by their union that employee jobs are being replaced by technology.
Some of the unfair labor practices that workers have filed are automation. So SSP has installed a number of kiosks around the airport, as well as implementing QR codes inside restaurants.
Now, they've also complained about unhealthy working conditions with rats and cockroaches in the workplace. Special election to replace Congressman Chris Stewart has Utah poll workers in a unique spot, trying to get all the ballots in time to be with their families for Thanksgiving. Salt Lake County Clerk Lanny Chapman says it all comes down to how many ballots come in.
During even years, it's not uncommon for us on the Monday before and Election Day Tuesday to receive about 100,000 by-mail ballots. That we will not be able to get caught up before Thanksgiving.
However, Chapman says voters turnout in Salt Lake County last year was 65% when they only expect about 35% this year. Plus, they've already been able to count the mail-in ballots that have already come in. KSL News Time, 1239. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Getting reports of a possible rollover crash that has also affected the intersection. I believe it's California Avenue, but we just don't have full reports coming in. If you happen to know where this is, definitely text us at 57500, but do so safely. We are starting to see traffic come through the area once again where we have the accident westbound to I-80 prior to Kimball Junction. For Summit County drivers, the backups were passing the Highway 40 junction, and those should start to ease pretty soon now. We also have delays eastbound to I-80 in the valley. This is due to road work, so expect a slow drive from 13 to 2300 east, and a crash in Tooele County northbound Main Street, SR 36 at 1000 north. It looks like they're over to the right shoulder now. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A benign November day on tap with a high of 46 this afternoon and mostly sunny skies. Overnight lows right around 30, mostly clear. Tomorrow afternoon, 49, partly cloudy skies. Then it looks like we get a little bit of rain-snow action on Thanksgiving night. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now it's sunny and 43 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and still to come on Utah's Noon News. What's next for the Salt Lake City School District? We'll dive into the recommendations to close 4 schools on KSL, streaming online at kslnewsradio.com and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You can't expect a policeman to unclog your drain. You shouldn't ask a teacher to change your oil. And you wouldn't want a fireman to clean your teeth. So why would we let politicians take over our internet service? That's just not what they do. Experience proves government-run networks mean waste, corruption, and failure. One example, called Utopia, promised to provide internet service in 16 cities within a few years. But over 20 years and hundreds of millions of dollars later, a better name would be dystopia. They say it's almost complete. We say stop wasting our money. Go to nogovinternet.com and tell lawmakers enough is enough. Local tax dollars are precious, and public employees have plenty to do already. Don't let politicians mess with our internet. Paid for by nogovinternet.com, a project of Domestic Policy Caucus.
Get ready, Utah! It's Medicare annual enrollment period, so why not make enrolling easier with United Healthcare? Whether you choose our online tools or over-the-phone support, United Healthcare will help you compare options so you can choose a plan with confidence. This is Medicare made for Utah, trusted everywhere. Explore our wide range of plans by calling United Healthcare today at 1-855-MEET-UHC. That's 1-855-MEET-UHC. Annual enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th, so call today.
More Utahns are turning side hustles into cash, but watch out. Matt Gephardt warns you about one gotcha that could blow up your side hustle and your finances.
I don't think I need it.
Get Gephardt's Side Hustle Gotcha tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
Feeling frustrated? Ignored? Deceived? It's time to get Gephardt. Get Gephardt, weeknights at 10 on KSL.
Two friends taking pictures of the rising full moon on a summer night.
Two teenage kids doing what teenage kids do.
When a stranger with a gun and a death wish changed everything.
It was violent, it was senseless, and I will never understand it, I will never accept it.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and unfortunately, we're all too familiar with stories about how violence shatters lives. But what we rarely see is how they are rebuilt. In a new podcast, The Letter, we relive tragedy, but only so we can hear the rest of the story. The struggle to reclaim lives, the realities of grief, and the possibilities of forgiveness.
I believe in miracles. Sometimes I thought, there are no miracles. Yeah, there are, and this is a big one.
Follow The Letter at theletterpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time, 12:45. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
Salt Lake City School District wants to close 4 elementary schools next year, 3 of which have about 200 students each. But the district says they considered more than just population. I'm KSL News Radio's Amy Kobe.
Second, Utah's Olympic Commission made a pitch 5 years in the making for Salt Lake City to host the 2030 and 2034 Winter Games. Third, traffic and weather together. Ricky?
Well, traffic is moving through the area once again in from the earlier accident westbound I-80 prior to Kimball Junction. Just a little bit of backup left in the area. And we still have the cleanup of the crash on SR 36 Main Street. This is on the northbound side of 1000 North on the right in Tooele. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Calm high pressure in place through Wednesday, then some changes on Thanksgiving. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 43 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories from ABC News.
Israel's government expected to vote on a brokered proposed deal with Hamas to release dozens of hostages in exchange for a ceasefire and release of Palestinians in Israeli jails. That along with limited amounts of fuel for Gaza. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller echoing President Biden's remarks earlier on a deal.
We are very close to an agreement, but we are not there yet. As you have heard us say a number of times over the course of the past few weeks, nothing is final until everything is final.
Americans are among the 200 hostages being held since the October 7th Hamas attacks. The U.S. says Iranian-backed militants launched a missile attack Monday on U.S. forces at an air base in Iraq, injuring several troops. Attacks on U.S. service members in the region have increased since the conflict began. Recent storms on the march across the nation's midsection to the northeast are starting to create some delays at airports. FlightAware showing more than 640 cancellations so far today as air travel picks up. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. The Salt Lake City School District is recommending the closure of 4 schools as their enrollment continues to decline. Hawthorne, Mary W. Jackson, M. Lynn Benyon, and Riley Elementary. The district's executive director of communications, Yandri Chatwin, joined Dave and Dujanovic, and she says the decision came down to many factors, and neighborhood population was one of them.
2 of the schools that you mentioned, Mary W. Jackson and Hawthorne, they have special district programs there. Mary W. Jackson has a dual language Spanish immersion program, and Hawthorne has a magnet gifted talented program. So those, because they're district programs, if the school closes, those will be relocated elsewhere, which means that what we were looking at is the neighborhood enrollment and making sure that a school can support both that special program and the neighborhood enrollment. When you look at Mary W. Jackson, there are 337 students, but a huge majority of them were part of that Spanish dual language program. That meant that they were left with 1 class per grade level in the neighborhood program. So kids who were not part of that special program didn't really have options at that school. And that's not the ideal setting. So we focused on placing schools, keeping schools open where students were. And at Mary W. Jackson, the situation just happened to be that the numbers didn't align with the neighborhood enrollment.
Chatwin says the district wanted to increase transparency, so all the information behind their decision is public.
We're providing that information. We're providing the data, the exact data, same data we were looking at, same maps we were using in our further study period, and we're hopeful that will help community members understand, even if they don't agree with the recommendation at the end, that they'll at least understand that this was a data-driven process with community input being part of that data, of course. And we'll see that these recommendations are logical and make sense.
There will be one more public hearing in December where parents can give their input before the board takes a final vote. KSL News Time, 12:49. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
A new accident for Weber County drivers northbound 1900 west, 5800 south in Roy. It's been blocking a center lane of travel. In Tooele County, we have a crash over to the right shoulder northbound SR 36 Main Street at 1000 North. And we still have the final cleanup of the crash in Summit County westbound I-80 prior to Kimball Junction, but all traffic is getting through the area once again. And slowdowns linger due to road work. This is eastbound I-80 in the valley between 1300 and 2300 East. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. Quiet. 46 today, mostly sunny. Tomorrow, little added cloud cover will go partly cloudy skies, 49 the high. Thanksgiving, first half of the day is dry. Temperatures will top out at 46 in the afternoon, but rain, snow, showers starting to move in the evening. 37 for your Friday, but light snow expected. 35 cold, partly cloudy for your Saturday. Dry, mostly sunny, 37 on Sunday. Monday, 39 with blue skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, it's sunny in downtown Salt Lake City. A little nippy, though, 43 degrees, but I guess that's still pretty nice for November. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Seen a lot of red today, taking back those gains from yesterday. Complete update of your money news coming up next.
You know, Deb, I'm a huge DIY guy, but one thing I'm not going to touch is electrical.
I've got the answer for you. You have to call Master Electrical. They have what's called upfront pricing. You know how bids can be a guessing game, and the longer an expert's in your home, the bigger the bill is? Not with Master Electrical. This upfront pricing is amazing.
Yeah, their pricing system won't even allow them to go higher.
They do everything that has to do with electrical. You need lights? Call Master Electrical. Ceiling fans, smoke detectors, generators, batteries, even EV chargers.
And all that pricing is upfront, and it's a guarantee.
Master Electrical proudly serves from Logan to Santaquin.
And they're always open, so if you have some emergency, they're there. So give them a call at 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
Or you can check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
Do it today.
The Black Friday sale you can't miss at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George, featuring 60 months, no interest on certain models. New machines start at $349 and save thousands of dollars on world-famous Bernina sewing machines, such as the B700E for $2,999, the B500E $1,999, and buy a B70 Deco model for just $999. Purchase the L890 Serger and receive a free Bernina Studio cabinet, a $3,250 value. How about $2,400 worth of free gifts when you buy a Bernina B790 Pro model, or get a free $2,000 embroidery module when you purchase the 770 Cafe machine. Tremendous pricing and bundle offers on Bernina quilting machines, and 25% off Bernina presser feet, embroidery hoops, and luggage. Amazing bargains on previously owned and demo machines with warranties, starting at $399. Black Friday at Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Simply Safe was named the best home security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. But we don't do what we do for the accolades. We do it to protect you and everything you love. Our advanced sensors and HD cameras are powered by 24/7 professional monitoring for fast emergency response. Visit simplysafe.com/radio to get 50% off any new system today. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Tim and Amanda, Utah's Morning News.
Trust is more important in our business, Tim, than it's ever been in my lifetime, in all of my many years of being here at KSL, because there's so much misinformation out there. And there's so much information that is heavy laden with opinion. When you come to us in the morning, what you get is the news. You get what's happening without a lot of spin or opinion and without any misdirection. That's just the pure, simple thing that you get.
When you talk about the misinformation that's out there, which there is, sometimes those stories just change from one morning to the next. And so hopefully you feel like each day as new information becomes available or we learn new things, this was certainly true during the pandemic, this is the place where we're going to share that information with you and talk about the things that are going to most affect your life.
Wake up with Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 12:54. The new Republican House Speaker met with former President Trump last night at a Florida fundraiser. ABC's Andy Field has the latest.
This is the first time Representative Mike Johnson and former President Trump have met face-to-face since Johnson became House Speaker. Speaker Johnson was one of many Republicans working to help Mr. Trump overturn the last election results before the January 6th insurrection. They both attended a Republican fundraiser at Mr. Trump's Mar-a-Lago club. Earlier this month, Speaker Johnson endorsed the former president, saying he's, quote, all in for President Trump.
KSL News Time, 12:55, watching Utah's money. USPS will be raising shipping rates next year. Ground Advantage and Priority Mail costs will be going up, but same day and next day shipping should stay about the same. Target is looking to sell self-checkout in a different way. The retailer won't be removing them, but instead will be enforcing the 10-item rule. Guests will with more than 10 items will be directed to a checkout lane. Google Maps has a new feature to help users shop locally. There's a filter to look for small businesses, including e-commerce brands like Etsy and eBay. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 86 points. That's 0.25%, sitting at 35,062. S&P down by 12. The NASDAQ down by 93 points. If you haven't checked your car or truck to make sure that it's ready for winter driving, you're about to run out of time. Corey Burt with Burt Brothers Tire and Service says the number one thing to check is your tires. He says you can check the depth with a penny or simply take it to a tire shop.
We have the actual tread depth gauges. They come with a green, yellow, and red mark on those gauges to kind of give you, hey, you're kind of getting there, but you could be okay. They don't want to sell everybody tires. We want to sell you tires when you need tires, but we also want to keep people safe on the road.
He says getting your vehicle checked now will be much quicker than it will be in a few days after the snow flies. We'll update your drive coming up next. KSL News Time, 12:56.
Hey, you. The one on the couch who just told your friend you can't go out because you're busy? Ready to get real about your psoriasis? When your current treatments don't do enough to help control the inflammation beneath the skin, causing plaques and pain, stressing and scratching, it's time to stop hiding and get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The holiday season is right around the corner, so give the gift that's hard to wrap but easy to give. Give them a Stihl. With powerful trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws to place under the tree, the Stihl Holiday Gift Guide has something for everyone. Save $30 on the GTA 26 battery-powered garden pruner. Visit your local Stihl dealer or go to StihlUSA.com/gift guide. Real Stihl. Find yours. Now $149.99 was $179.99 MSRP. Offer valid for a limited time only at participating dealers while supplies last.
Dear Santa, thank you for brightening up my Christmas. It made it a lot better. Thank you for the shoes. I'm very grateful for the presents because I usually don't get too much. So that really brightens this year up for me. Also, on behalf of my mother, thank you.
At KSL, it's our hope that every child will have a warm and joyful holiday season. Please donate generously to KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
Every dollar raised goes to buy shoes and warm clothes for Utah children in need. Give what you can at KSLQuarters.com.
Boyd Matheson on political expectations. Sadly, I think we've been conditioned as voters to look to Washington to solve all the big problems of the day. And what we really need to recognize is that our politicians rarely lead. It's community and culture that lead, and the politicians follow. If we're going to have a different kind of politics in the country, we have to expect different from our politicians.
Join Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson, 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds. At highway speeds, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Stop texts, stopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time, 12:59. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Crews are on the scene of a rollover crash, and it has affected the traffic lights at the intersection of California Avenue and Gladiola Street. That's 3400 West. I-15 seeing a delay-free drive both directions between Ogden and Provo, but slowdowns due to road work continue eastbound I-80 as you're approaching 2300 East. Witness the magic of the Nutcracker opening December 8th with the timeless music of Tchaikovsky, performed live by the Ballet West Orchestra. Tickets at balletwest.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, a high today, 46, 49 tomorrow. Thursday, 30% chance of showers for your Thanksgiving, a high of 46. And then things changing a lot more significantly on Friday, where we also have a chance of snow showers on Friday. And the high on Friday, 37, and just in the mid-30s for those weekend football games. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, sunny and 45 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
Listen at home on any smart speaker.
And in your car at 102.7 FM.
This is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 1 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. We'll have to wait until after the polls close today to find out who the front runner is in the Salt Lake City mayor's race. But we do know who's got more money in the bank.
Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron